Sound production. Good evening, gentlemen. This is Sir Yeetus, and I'm here to give you episode 43 of Sir Yeetus Thoughts. And right now, it's my multiple thoughts I have in my mind that should be addressed. Because what I am thinking about right now is the overall community of the Manosphere. Because for the last half year, things has been getting crazy. We're going to dive into it very soon. But to start the live stream, we're going to have the one, the only, the legendary TFM.
Hello.
What is going on, TFM?
Yeah, just living my best life.
Things are going good on your end? Okay. See, that's what we need.
I can't complain.
And right now, I'm going to add another person, Mayor Mercules.
Puniti, my brudas.
Puniti.
How you doing, TFM?
I'm better than I deserve. How are you?
I couldn't agree more with that statement. Yep. Doing good. Had a nice productive day. Finishing it off right.
There you go.
I heard you were very busy today, bro.
Yeah, my back's telling me I was.
Yeah, that's the curse of being a man, am I right?
Man that gets shit done.
So we're gonna skip the my usual things, and we're gonna get right into the topic.
All right.
But before we do that,
what'd you say, Mayor?
But before we do that,
Oh, what's up?
if you want to support the Warband, you want to support streams like this, don't be afraid to donate to paypal.me/Sir Yeetus. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah,
I've been banned from PayPal.
Definitely donate to paypal.me/Sir Yeetus. 100% of the money will be going towards to the production of my channel or anything that the Warband needs, because the higher quality of content I can give to you guys, the better. Okay. Like, you guys see my gift that I have right now. You know, you see it on the screen. You know, I'm looking pretty good.
It's glorious.
Thank you. And the art in the background, it's all because of you guys. I didn't pay for this. Your donation paid for this. And I am forever grateful, okay? If you choose to donate, believe me, I am very appreciative for it. But if you're unable to, try to help me with the algorithms and give me a like. All right. Let us go right away into the topic.
Sexual. My mic doing all right now?
Oh, shit. Man, regularly, what's going on?
Is my mic doing all right? Somebody in the chat saying my mic is way too loud.
You were loud a second ago, but maybe you were just too close to your mic. You sound fine now.
No, I've got a gain meter. It was up. I was recording tracks earlier. That's my bad, guys.
Am I good?
You're good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. TFM. So when it comes to the overall topic,
Okay.
how do you feel? What is your perspective on the state of the Manosphere 2022?
The problem is that pretty much anyone with something to say has basically been chased off of the mainstream platforms by now. And you basically have two choices. You can accept that, and you can just embrace that you're basically going to lose 90% of your audience and be relegated to the dark web, basically. Or you can sanitize your content to try to stay under the radar and stay on Susan's good side so that you don't get kicked off of YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and so on. And depending on where you fall, basically, like the path I chose was I just said, screw it. And I just went off to alt tech. And my audience has, it's like you lose about 90% of your audience I was hitting back on D Live. I was getting like 1,500 to 2,000 viewers on a live stream. Now I'm lucky to get, 400. And then on YouTube, I was getting 10 to 15,000 views on a video in the week it was published. Now I'm lucky to get 2,000, like forever. Like that's permanent. Like you look at my old videos, couple thousand views. That's it. So when you go to alt tech, you're losing 90% of your audience, and that's a pretty big hit to take. So if you're doing this for money, you're probably not going to make that choice. If you haven't kept your day job and you haven't kept your basically your income going, if you're not doing it for the music, then you're probably going to fall into the latter camp, which is the camp that censors themselves to try to stay on the right side of the algorithm and the right side of the censorship. And here's the problem with that. Like originally back in like the golden age of MGTOW, like 2015, 2016, 2017-ish, you had the content creators that were making the really hard-hitting, deep philosophical content. And then you had the content creators that were making the more entry-level content, the more mass consumption, the basic content that would get people kind of into the community, the more inoffensive content. And there was a role for both. You need somebody to kind of be the carnival barker to get people into the tent. And then you got to have like the people there to give them a show. And the problem is once you kick all the people off that have something to say, and you're only left with the people kind of scratching the surface, because if they go too deep, they're going to offend someone. Essentially, you have a bunch of content creators that they're basically like, they're all doing the same thing. They're all fighting for the same audience. Because I'm not going to name names. I'm going on my way not to name names. You have channels that they deliberately tailor their content to the general audience. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when everybody's doing that, you don't need 20 channels making the same basic MGTOW content because they're too afraid to go a little deeper and offend someone. So, like, the Manosphere has become very samey, become very boring. It's not their fault. Like, these content creators, they're just trying to keep it going. They're hoping, like, maybe they reach someone and help somebody. But it's basically one of those things where when YouTube declared MGTOW a hate movement, and this happened, it wasn't just MGTOW, it was the MRAs, it was everything. When that happened, it really just destroyed the Manosphere. And the only people left on YouTube of any, like the ones who actually make it big and get like bigger channels and whatever, they have to be very inoffensive. They have to watch what they say. They can't go too deep. And essentially it's just, and it's not necessarily the Manosphere's fault. It's just a natural, basically YouTube and social media companies are telling us what box we can play in. And that box is essentially neutering the Manosphere. The Manosphere can't serve its function and play in the box that social media has given us to play in. So you either have to leave the box, but then you're leaving 90% of your audience, or you play in the box, but you're becoming kind of like very samey. You're not really even accomplishing anything. So
Okay,
it's
TFM. Okay.
okay.
I'm going to get back to that in a bit because it's going to be a follow-up question.
All right.
You pretty much dabble into that. We're going to get back to you very soon because this is something that the people within the Manosphere are getting confused, which I will get to soon. Mayor,
I'm here.
what is your perspective on the state of the Manosphere?
I think we have a lot of grifters. I think that there are some in the sphere that might be seen as grifters because they probably just don't know enough to be preaching. They're inexperienced. A lot of these men out here were raised by single women. How in the fuck would they know?
Okay.
Most of them lack experience.
Yes.
And they could be perceived as grifters. It's going to be really hard to differentiate between the two. But, I mean, ones like Cuck Murphy, they make it pretty fucking obvious.
He wasn't part of the Manosphere, though.
Well, see, that's a follow-up question I was going to ask you, TFM. He's the one that proclaims that he's alpha, he's masculine, he's this and that. And even though he didn't proclaim that he was part of the Manosphere, he definitely want to put himself in a position.
He was doing everything that he could visually. He was setting up all of these jacked brunches where it was just literally he invited dudes to just come and smoke cigars and drink in the early morning.
So how do you feel about those type of grifters, such as
they're not part of the
Murphy or
Fresh Bonobo? Look, so all right, Bonobo. I call him Bonobo Jack. So Bonobo Jack was never part of the Manosphere. He was just, if you remember, I'm dating myself a bit. You remember like Gamergate back like 2015, 2016. That kind of ignited this anti-feminist, like anti-feminism was cool. You had a lot of YouTube channels come on, just jumping on the anti-feminism bandwagon. And that lasted until, again, everything was declared hate speech. And then all these YouTube channels suddenly pivoted and they never talked about feminism again because they were just milking a trend. They were just chasing some algorithm bullshit. They were trying to capture some bandwagon audience. And that's all it was. So they weren't ever part of any group. They were just trend chasing. I mean, you call them grifters, but they were just copying something they saw someone else do. Like Bonobo Jack was just copying what Rollo Tomasi and other people, like people who legitimately know what the fuck they're talking about and actually provide some value to people. He was taking that and he was like, oh, well, I could do that. And you saw this, like, the one good thing about MGTOW being declared a hate group and all the monetization going away and everyone getting kicked off was you got rid of a lot of these content creators who were making dog shit content just to get clicks and just to get ad revenue. And so that's kind of a good thing. It still sucks that the community was decimated, but at least it got rid of those people. But this is just what happens when you have a successful community, when you have a successful formula. You're going to have people copy it. You're going to have people bandwagon. You're going to have people try to make, like, look at all the people trying to copy PewDiePie or trying to copy Mr. Beast or trying to copy Game Theory or something like that. One of these
Dr.
huge
Disrespect.
channels. Yeah, all these, there's so, like, anytime anything becomes popular, you have 1,000 copycats. And it doesn't make them a community. It just means that they're copying something that they see works.
TFM.
Well, unfortunately, when you have enough, yeah, okay, go ahead.
Second. So TFM, even though I know the answer, do you want to explain the comment of that's what a grifter is, though, TFM?
Well, yeah, that's what a grifter is, but I wouldn't consider them part of the Manosphere.
Okay, so my argument to that is because there's enough of them, because they interject themselves enough to gain influence in the Manosphere, which some of them have. Fed and Simp, perfect prime example. They rode the coattails of Rollo Tomato, and they've got a large following of people behind them now that are believing and eating up what they're saying.
First of all, you have to understand a lot of those subscriber numbers are bought and paid for. And there's Bonobo Jack. He didn't come on. He didn't collaborate with any MGTOW channels. He didn't collaborate with any Manosphere channels. He went on Tim Pool. And he went on other Glenn Beck affiliated conservative podcasters, like big podcasters. Tim Pool is not a member of the fucking Manosphere. Glenn Beck is not a member of the Manosphere.
Oh, Tim Pool? No. When Bonobo Jack, these people don't proclaim that they're in the Manosphere, their action actions say
No,
otherwise.
that's
and
just
choice
the thing.
order.
No,
Is
they're
that-
not.
is
Because
that
would you hold on? No, listen. Would you consider Jordan Peterson to be part of the Manosphere?
No. It's just solely I was trying to point at Cuck Murphy, which I will call
Right.
him Cuck
I'm
Murphy.
talking. Well, I'm talking about him. My point is, he didn't collaborate. He didn't claim to be. He didn't partner with. He didn't advertise within the Manosphere. He advertised on Tim Pool, and he advertised with other like Glenn Beck affiliated podcasts and shit. He was positioning himself not as a member of the Manosphere. He's basically trying to align himself more along the lines of like a Jordan Peterson, where he's trying to teach men how to be men type of stuff. That's not what the Manosphere does.
You heard about his website though, right?
Yeah, the liminal order, and he's got the cuck article, and he has gay porn. I know the Ballad of Bonobo Jack. My only argument is he was never part of the Manosphere. He may have been grifting. He may have been like, again, like a lot of these anti-feminist channels in like 2015, 2016. He was just a bandwagon jumper. And he was like, basically, I'm not really sure why, but for some reason he saw similar channels, like not even really MGTOW, like more of like the Red Pill group or those guys who do like relationship coaching and stuff. And he decided he was going to literally copy them. Like it's really funny. You notice how a lot of these groups, they have similar aesthetics. Hello. But a lot of these groups have similar
What's up?
aesthetics. And for some reason, a lot of these red pill dating coaches.
Give me a second.
All right. A lot of these red pill dating coaches and relationship gurus, they're all bald with a beard and they wear aviator glasses. And I didn't notice that until Coltane mentioned it. And now I can unsee it. Every time I see a bald guy with a beard and aviator glasses, it's like, I have my little cigar and everything because back in the day when I started my channel, that was the thing. Everybody had like a guy with a cigar. And it's like now for these red pill masculinity coaches, it's all about aviator glasses, baldness, and having a beard.
Give me 1 second, TFM. Give me 1 second. Rishi.
All right, I'm back. Yeah.
There's a lot of noise in your background. What's up?
is Rishi at a carnival right now?
I don't know, but there's a lot of noise.
But anyway, to your original question, rather, the state of the Manosphere. What Bonobo Jack did doesn't have shit to do with the Manosphere. He was just a grifter and a fake, and he was just trying to pitch some kind of fake bullshit. But he's not doing anything different than like Jordan Peterson is doing, and I wouldn't consider him part of the Manosphere. You have a lot of these fake mentor figures trying to reach men. That doesn't make them part of the Manosphere. Now, Fresh and Fit, that's a different story because they were kind of like positioning themselves. They're using the language of the Manosphere. And it turns out they were just buying sugar babies and prostitutes.
But Jordan Peterson was back and forth with his stance, which I still agree. I still agree with what you're saying. But Jordan Peterson, he was definitely back and forth. First, he says he's against MGTOW. Then he says he's for MGTOW. And then recently, he just says he's against MGTOW again. He didn't directly say it, but based on what I forgot which question he was answering, but based on his answer, he was definitely against MGTOW.
I don't care. Fuck Jordan Peterson. I'm just saying, like, he's not part of the Manosphere.
No, I'm not saying that he
and
is.
neither is Bonobo Jack, neither is Tim Pool. Just because you're a man,
so
and you
are
have
we in the
opinions,
wrong when it comes to the Warband taking Cuck Murphy out?
He's gone. Like he's just a lolcow at this point.
Yeah, but it's because of us, right?
Yeah, I heard it was somebody who suggested the super chat on the
Dr. Dick and Balls
was the main cause of that.
Yeah, Dr. Dick and Balls. He was one, like he was in the Warband chat on Chronic's stream just before we sent over a band of raiders. We spammed the shit out of their chat.
Fucking live stream for a whole hour.
All right.
I unfortunately couldn't spam. I was screen recording as it was happening. And it was absolutely glorious. At the end of it, Dr. Dick and Ball's super chat got read out in glorious fashion by Sidney Thoughtson, and the unraveling of Cuck Murphy happened. It was glorious.
Manosphere or not, I couldn't let somebody in. Once again, Underchronic discovered Cuck Murphy before I did. But the audacity is motherfucker
He advertised
taking
himself in
advantage
that
of
way.
young men looking for male guidance and charging them hundreds or thousands of dollars.
That was my issue.
All right, I'm back. But
He
the thing I wanted
advertised
to,
himself in a male space as a masculine man.
the thing I was,
Right, I
TFM,
get that.
he actually got his start in. I don't know if you know this. He got his start in like 21 Studios, and he had like a relationship with Rollo Tomasi before.
Murphy
Like
did?
before he went down the conservative route.
Oh, so I didn't know that. I thought he was
Democrat to
Yeah,
deplorable thing.
he had 21 Studios had like a whole video disavowing him and disavowing the past. So.
Oh, well, okay. Well, then there you go. I didn't know that. Because the first time I heard of him was like on Tim Pool.
Yeah, that's where he got his big break.
But
Yeah,
you're
I
still
was,
right.
like,
Don't get me
crying
wrong. You're
about his
still right,
thing.
TFM, when it comes to people not officially declaring themselves being part of Manosphere. But plenty of people, including Cuck Murphy, is putting themselves in position to have men within the Manosphere. I'm talking about new young men that
Are young
in
Brutus.
situation going his route.
Here's the problem. Like, guys don't choose MGTOW right off the bat. MGTOW is kind of like it's like it's the answer you don't want to admit is true, so you try everything else first. And then you slowly realize that MGTOW is the right answer. But it's like you wish it wasn't. Like I didn't, I started out like hoping the MRAs were right and things could be changed electorally. And then when that was clearly not going to happen, I heard out the PUAs. I heard the Red Man group and the 21 guys with all their frame but that shit doesn't even make sense. It's obviously snake oil. It's obviously bullshit. It's false hope. So it's like you eventually realize MGTOW's right, but nobody arrives in the Manosphere and immediately just says yes, MGTOW, because MGTOW is basically. Because guys want women, unless you're gay, and no judgment. But I'm just saying, like, straight men want women, and they don't want to just admit that the system is so fucked they have to walk away and figure out something else to do. They want to hold out hope that the system can be fixed, or maybe if they learn some technique, they can somehow use their alpha cock to brainwash their feminist wife into not using all these laws that feminism has given her. Like they want to believe there's some way to navigate these waters, this minefield that feminism has created.
And you see how people like Cuck Murphy takes advantage of that, right?
But it's not just him. Basically,
no, not just him. I said people.
Yeah,
like
it's basically like some people won't accept MGTOW, and to those people,
okay. I agree.
Right? It's whatever. I think they're wrong, but it's your life. So if you want to go hit your head against the wall fighting some political battles you can't win, go nuts. If you want to maintain frame and bathe in pheromone soap and think it's going to save you from feminism, go for it, I guess. Enjoy that. Yeah, are they being taken advantage of? Yes, but they want to be taken advantage of. These are men who basically they want, like, okay, give me an example. This is an unrelated but similar example. So, whenever I try to talk to anyone about investing or money management, they don't like what I have to say because, according to many, many people, my way takes too long. So before crypto, the big thing that everyone was doing was they were borrowing a whole bunch of money from the banks. They were buying a bunch of real estate, basically a real estate portfolio, and that for the the rental income. And they had like $1 million worth of real estate. Now they didn't own it; the bank owned it, but they got to tell themselves they were a millionaire in their 20s because they had this real estate portfolio worth $1 million that the bank owned. And these people were. So you have a guy over here talking about how he's going to tell you the secrets of how to become a millionaire in your 20s by borrowing a shit ton of money and buying a real estate portfolio. And I'm trying to tell people that, if you just listen to me, I can teach you how to beat the S&P 500 consistently and you'll make a good return. It'll take a couple decades, but you'll make it. Like, this works. But everyone tells me that my way takes too long. So they always take the path of get rich quick. And now, obviously, right now, the big thing is crypto. But the point is like, it doesn't matter if you present the truth. And sure, you could argue, well, these financial gurus, whether it's crypto, whether it's real estate, whatever the get rich quick scheme of the day is, they're taking advantage of these men. But these men want to be taken advantage of. It's like the fad diet industry. Everybody knows how diet and exercise work, but you have an entire industry of people trying to tell you that you can lose weight with gummy bears or pills or some bullshit.
The next
they
best
want
craze.
they want to be lied to. So as much as I hate the grifters for taking advantage of men, these are men who want to be taken advantage of because they don't want to buckle down and do the hard thing. They want to be lied to and told there's an easy way, that if they just maintain frame and bathe with this pheromone soap, that they'll be immune to feminism. Or if they just go to this rally or buy this book or go to this seminar, they can overthrow feminism. And they want to be lied to. So it's a two-way street. You have the victim, and then you have the grifter, but it's a two-way street. And all you can do is try to tell these people this is the right way, guys. But I've seen it so many times where they don't want to listen. They don't want to go down the MGTOW path. They don't want to go down the thing that works. They want to try to get rich quick. They want to try to find the shortcut. They want the easy path that these grifters are selling them. And only after they've been burned are they like, oh yeah, I guess MGTOW was right. And hopefully they're not burned like they have a kid or they're getting divorced or they're getting accused of rape and going to prison. Hopefully it's like a small burn and not a life-destroying burn. But you can't save these people because they don't want to be saved.
Everybody wants to live in a house. Nobody wants to build a house.
Well, they want to get rich quick.
It's same concept. Everybody wants to live in a house. Nobody wants to fucking build the house. You don't want to put in the work. You don't have the patience.
I'm gonna keep it real. All right, I'm getting sick of all these male and female chameleons coming into the manosphere. Of course, we can't police them all, but the big ones where clearly they're in the wrong and they were exposed multiple times, and there's still people supporting them. I agree, they pretty much went mainstream. But people like Cuck Murphy, which there are people still supporting Cuck Murphy, Fresh and Fit,
I don't think
Roma Army, Lauren Southern, whatever the fuck her name is, and others.
I mean, there might be some people who support those people, but like I think Bonobo Jack is done. I think Fresh and Fit are done. I mean, they might have some small group of diehard supporters, but like the problem is their entire story was bullshit. You know, Bonobo Jack was talking about how he was this alpha male who could teach men how to be a real man. Meanwhile, he's putting shit up his ass on gay porn, talking about how he's bisexual. He's also made a lot of comments about wanting to have sex with 15-year-olds. So he's also a pedophile. And
that 10-pool interview.
Yeah, he's like a complete piece of shit. So it was like even the people who supported him before they knew, you can't support him now. Everything he told you was a lie. And then Fresh and Fit, they were buying sugar babies and prostitutes, talking about how they're alpha and how they can get all these hot girls. Yeah, it's easy to get hot girls when you're paying them. Anybody can get hot girls when they go to fucking seeking arrangements and pay them. That doesn't take any game. The only game you need is a credit card.
No, not at all. And DJ Academics called him out a month or two ago, talking about, oh, she's different. Fresh was Fresh, saying that his girlfriend, like, oh, she's different, bro. What are you talking about? She ain't like these Miami girls. She was only here for 2 weeks. Yeah, she gave me a chance when she saw me on that mega yacht or yacht. You know,
of course,
she paid attention to me when I was sitting in that yacht. But that's different.
Yeah. You know, my waifu may be plastic, but at least she's honest about it.
What'd you say?
I said my waifu may be plastic, but at least she's honest about it.
And that's what I'm saying. And all the red flags. So, what I remember with Fresh, when he went in to get a kiss from his quote unquote girlfriend, she moved away in disgust. Okay, and then all the TikTok videos that his quote unquote girlfriend was doing was bragging about how she's finessing rich men, and she was on that sugar baby website.
Yeah, of course. It's whatever. Like, honestly, the thing is the lies don't change. Remember, there's a guy, I think his name was Jack Brazilian or something like that. He was supposed to be the king of Instagram.
Oh,
He
you're
was
talking about Dan?
Dan Brazilian, yeah. So he was this. Now that guy was much better looking than Fresh and Fit or Jack Murphy, but even he was paying women to appear with him in these pictures for him to take photos and stuff for his Instagram. And he was supposed to be this king of Instagram, and he's always taking pictures with hot girls, and he was paying them. And he was a good-looking guy and rich. And in fact, he ended up like burning through his entire fortune just trying to live this lifestyle in order to get these women he was paying. So you have a guy like Dan Brazilian paying women. You have Fresh and Fit paying women. The only people who aren't paying women are people like Jack fucking Murphy, who fucks himself with dildos.
No, he's paying other men to come and fuck his wife.
He's paying fucking Matt from Tinder to come fuck his girlfriend.
He's still fucking paying.
It's just, look, I don't know what to say. It takes two, though. Like the men who get conned by these completely obvious grifters, they have some responsibility for, because this isn't a new grift. This is the old like love potion grift. This is the snake oil grift. This is like people being sold something, that's too good to be true, and they're not questioning it because they want to believe it's true.
Well, how you say when it comes to those type of men that should bear some responsibility, yes, but at the same time, when they look at the mainstream red pill stuff, the first thing that gets pulled up is Fresh and Fit.
Well, and that goes to my original comments that what really fucked the Manosphere wasn't Fresh and Fit, it wasn't Jack Murphy, it was Susan banishing MGTOW off of the mainstream. There are no, all the mainstream MGTOW content creators either have sanitized themselves because they don't want to get kicked off of YouTube, or like me, they just said fuck it and they went to alt tech. And yeah, my audience is shit compared to what it used to be. And that it's whatever. I mean, I kind of just say, well, this is what it is now. But that's because I never looked at YouTube as like a career. It was always just, I'll do this for a while and I'll get kicked off and then I'll go get a real job. And
I'm not here for money at all. But if you want to donate any money, you can donate at paypal.me/Yeetus.
Well, but like just as an example, right? I said, look, yeah, go ahead and donate, guys. But I've been kicked off of PayPal. I've been kicked off of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Trovo. I've been kicked off of almost everything. The platforms I'm on now, they're and I'm sure I'll get kicked off of Rumble soon. I'm kind of waiting to get kicked off of Rumble. It doesn't matter what I do or don't do. It's just I'm on the list. I'm on the bad list, and whenever there's a purge, usually due to some political stuff, like it's an alt-right purge. I'm not even a member. I'm not an alt-right person at all, but I'm on the list. So whenever the alt-right gets kicked off of somewhere, I'm always thrown in with them. I'm always kicked off with them, and it's just that's the way it is.
So one of the only people that are still, chilling around YouTube is the MGTOW people is Hammerhand.
Well, even he's facing like resistance on it. He's getting like strikes on his channel.
Yeah, he was taken out 2 times already that I know of.
He did get one of his strikes removed. I did hear that earlier today. He got one of his strikes removed completely. So
there are others too. I mean, there was like you got Better Bachelor and you Sandman and Stardust. I mean, there's plenty of MGTOW out there. The problem is
I'm just talking about just mainstream Hammerhand. Everybody know who Hammerhand is.
Oh yeah, that's it. Look, it's fine. You just have to accept that like the mainstream Manosphere is kind of shit, and it because of it's more because of YouTube and social media's hate speech policy than Fresh and Fit and Jack Murphy. They're just a symptom, and unfortunately, it's not going to get better. The answer needs to be that people need to stop being dependent on YouTube. You need to start supporting alt tech. And I talk about this there's like a Mexican standoff. We have the content creators, the audience, and the advertisers. The content creators want to go where the advertisers are so they can get paid. The advertisers want to go where the audience is because they want to advertise their products to a large audience. And the audience will go where the content creators are because that's where the content is. So you have this three-way standoff if everybody's waiting for the other guy to move first. And the only way this is actually going to, either YouTube is going to go bankrupt, which I don't think is going to happen because they have, the support of Google, or the content creators are going to get kicked off. Now, when that happens to me and others, some of us accept it. Most of us, like 99% of content creators, when they get kicked off of YouTube, they find a way to snake back in, and they just sanitize themselves and they try to fly right so they can stay on YouTube. And unfortunately, that's actually disrupting a healthy progression in this Mexican standoff, because now you have the content creators getting kicked off, which would normally start the process. If the content creators left, the audience would leave, and then the advertisers would leave. But as long as the content creators keep sneaking back in, trying to sanitize their content and stay on YouTube because they're hoping to get that audience and get that paycheck and those clicks, they're perpetuating this Mexican standoff. And you're just giving power to these censors and these retards in Silicon Valley who want to deplatform and control you. So
would you believe in a few years the Manosphere, as we know it, will be over? Or
it'll never,
even less time?
Well, no, there's a possibility of that. I'm not going to say never. The Manosphere is simply a response to feminism.
Yeah.
So as long as there is feminism, Manosphere is a reaction. So you have action, reaction. As long as there's feminism, there'll be a Manosphere. Now the problem is, and even if MGTOW disappears, like even if MGTOW gets memory wiped, memory hold, whatever you want to call it, it will just reemerge under a different name. As long as feminism exists, as long as the relationship between men and women becomes completely fucked due to politics, as long as men want to understand what the hell is going on and what they can do about it, MGTOW knowledge, even if it comes up as a different name or a different title with a completely different community, will always exist. And the only way MGTOW and the Manosphere will go away is if feminism goes away. So if feminism goes away, the Manosphere goes away because it served its function. But as long as there's feminism, there'll be the Manosphere as a response to that feminism.
But when censorship gets out of control, the authentic Manosphere will be no more.
Well, no, because it'll just, honestly, it might be a good thing. Like right now, yes, the YouTube Manosphere will be no more. The Facebook Manosphere, the Reddit Manosphere, the Twitter Manosphere, they will be no more. Good. Like, fine. Who gives a shit? Like, men will look for answers. If they can't find it on YouTube or Twitter or Reddit, they'll look and they'll find the answers. And it's just, the problem is, because YouTube paid you, you were allowed to monetize your content, actually get paid. People were able to turn content creation into a job. They were able to pay their bills with it. And that's kind of unheard of. Like, for example, nobody pays you to upload to Facebook or Twitter, but YouTube pays you. And that kind of spoiled people. And they got they expect to be paid now. And unfortunately, before YouTube started paying people used to upload things. People used to make like message boards and, threads and whatever to try to just help people because they thought this information was useful. Like there are Manosphere communities that they're way older than YouTube. And those things will come back. Those communities will come back. They'll always be around. It's just that we have to basically get over this expectation that this is going to be a paid gig, that we deserve to be compensated. You should do it because you want to help people. Yep. And if people donate, like whenever someone asks for my help with something, and they ask me how much do I charge, because they're almost used to that. They're used to people charging them to help them. And I just tell them, talk to me. You talk to me for free. Look, after I help you, if you want to donate, that's fine, but that's up to you. And that's just how I operate. I have a day job. I'm not hurting for money. I'm not here to fleece you. I'm here to help you. And honestly, the people who need the help the most are the people who can't afford these liminal order bullshit where they're paying $100 a month to talk to some dipshit.
Yeah, which I agree. Which I don't know, man. I know young men, they're at times too desperate to find answers, but I'm like, if you're seeing a man charging you all this money just to get any advice, you really think that he's here for you?
Well, and he's not telling you anything that you couldn't find for free. Like these
More
guys
than
haven't-
likely, he's not telling you anything that you haven't already heard. You just weren't listening.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's nothing really new out there. It's the same shit. It's like repackaged and whatever. Especially when it comes to the basic MGTOW relationship red pill stuff. It's been done to death. So you shouldn't be paying for that under any circumstances. You should easily find it for free.
Yeah, at least on YouTube, it's been almost 10 years. Almost 10. We got 2 more years left.
It's all out
But-
there.
But I mean, we're also talking to a lot of guys that aren't MGTOW who are looking for somebody. They want a family. They want a life to something to progress their family lineage.
Yeah, and
So-
my advice to them is to go to another country where women don't have rights,
Overseas.
and stay there, and do not bring her back to the West. Do not think that because you married your jungle princess that she's going to be different when you bring her back to America or Europe.
No,
She
the state is going to treat her the same as any other one and give her preferential treatment. It doesn't matter what you do or what she says, even if you do have some kind of an agreement with this female.
Yeah, it
The
doesn't. Yeah,
state
none
will
of that matters.
interject themselves.
But Mayor, hold up.
They
There's
will
a
take
difference
control.
though, right?
Run.
Of course, all women are the same around the world.
Right.
But the environment is what dictates what
Yes,
she's going
right.
to do or not. Because,
Women-
of course, if she's going to take advantage of you and she has a chance to do that, she will. But in certain countries, her hands are tied like how our hands are tied in the U.S.
Yeah, women are as good or as bad as men allow them to be.
That's why I say it. Build yourself, build your castle, build your kingdom, and only on fertile land plant your seed.
But personally, I say
I-
don't build it. Don't build
I
it in
w-
the West.
Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about that. Honestly, I would.
If you're going to
if-
build, don't build that shit in the West.
If you are like, and most guys having a family, that's not like, if that's your number one priority, like I have to have a family, it's the most important thing to me, then you need to get your little pile of money together and you need to immigrate to another country. Start learning the language. You're probably going to have to convert to Islam or something. Just be prepared for that. And there you go. Go be happy in some other country.
Within the confines of my house, I will still be a goddamn heathen. I don't give a fuck what society I'm living in, and my children will know the religion of their ancestors.
See, that's the unfortunate part. In the West,
Well,
your hands are fucking tied. There's nothing that you can do. In the West, if she decides to utter those unfortunate words, she's not happy. What the fuck you gonna do besides take her out? Like I'm talking about forever.
yeah, and the problem is, it's like in your house, you want to be a heathen, you want to basically disrespect the culture you're living under. That's going to backfire so bad on you. It's basically the same as saying, oh, even though I live in the West and we have feminism, in my house, I'm going to be respected and I'm going to be the head of the household. No, your wife is going to realize she can use this against you and she's going to turn the community against you and fuck you over.
Unless
And if
you can keep her away from social media and stuff, then
you
yeah.
No,
can't.
you
there's
have-
there
Yeah,
there
let's
there
keep
isn't.
lock her
No,
in the
I'm-
basement,
hold
bro.
on. TFM Yeetus. I can speak from experience on that. I already know that. I learned that lesson, and unfortunately, I learned it the fucking hard way. Okay.
So
Well,
would
I'm
you
talking
still
like, if you
suggest
go
men
to a,
another castle in the
but if you
West?
immigrate to a Muslim country, for example, but you decide
I
you're
would
gonna-
never.
Well, I'm just saying as an example, but you decide you're going to keep your ancestors' religion privately in your home. Your wife is going to use that against you in the same way a feminist woman in the West would use you trying to be the head of your household in a Western household against you. She has this loaded gun. All she has to do is basically get the town together and talk about how you're secretly a Christian or secretly a whatever, and the town will bear you up to your neck and throw stones at you.
Do you know what mitigates that?
What you're gonna go ham on the whole town? You're gonna go
Fear.
John Wick?
Fear.
All right. So
Well, Fear, but
Because-
what I'm saying is,
hold on,
Fear,
Fear.
I got
You-
speak on this. Right?
no,
Let me
you
speak
can
right quick.
you
Let me
can
speak right
trust
quick.
you can trust
Hold
someone
up, Mayor. Hold up.
this is
that fears
terrible.
you.
This
Wait,
is
hold
terrible advice. You're talking.
Yeah.
So no, that's
Wait,
so.
wait. Everybody,
no,
chill out. I
no,
want to say this
no.
shit right quick.
Okay, go and say it.
When you said build your castle, build your kingdom, do you really suggest them to do it in the West?
No.
Your advice of but if they fear you, you could trust them. It doesn't work
No.
anywhere. Women are as bad as the men in their community allow them to be. If you're based in red-pilled wife in some patriarchal red-pilled Muslim country, it doesn't matter. If she fears you, she has a family, she has neighbors. Same thing in the West. You can try to rule through fear in your patriarchal house, and your wife can call the neighbors, or she has like a whatever. Like, trying to dominate your wife or girlfriend through fear is a horrible strategy. It basically works until it doesn't. Like, the second she has access to someone and realizes she's in a safe place, she will fuck you so hard in the ass, and the courts will gleefully crucify you.
Okay. So you're thinking of fear as more of a I'm going to destroy you, right? That's in your mind what you have when I say that they have to fear you, right?
Okay, what's
Okay,
your
no.
fear?
I'm the provider.
She's going.
Losing that
No,
provision
That doesn't work.
is the fear. Losing that provision is the fear.
Oh, it's not like women have any alternative
so-
provision.
What do you mean by
Of
that?
Of course,
Mayor?
of course,
Can you-
of course they
Mayor.
do. But here's the thing. I know for a fact that the state is not providing
So
for my
is your-
children and that female in the same capacity that I can in the real physical
Yeah.
world.
That's what child support and alimony are for. Now, if you're
It doesn't do it. It doesn't cut it. And I'm
Oh my
telling you
God.
right now,
If-
it doesn't cut it for them. It
talked to a
obviously
guy-
doesn't cut it for them because they're still
All right.
seeking more. They're
All
still
right.
looking for
Stop.
somebody else to
Yeah.
subsidize them.
There was a
Even
guy
after the state.
There was a guy on my talk show a while back who kind of had a similar attitude, and his plan was if his wife ever drops papers on him, he's going to kill himself. And he told her, if you ever divorce me, I'll kill myself. And because I'm the provider, and because once I'm dead, you're not getting any child support, any alimony. So he's like, haha, that's the secret, TFM. You just tell your wife you're going to kill yourself, and then she'll never divorce you because she won't get any child support or alimony, and she'll be in the poorhouse.
That's bullshit. And that's bullshit.
Yeah,
I will 100% that's bullshit. You're right.
That's the same thing.
That's not the same thing.
That's the same
because
goddamn thing.
Her knowing and experiencing that you're providing for her more than the state can, even with everything that we know that the state can do.
But
in the end, I kicked her out of my fucking castle. She doesn't have this land. And neither will any of her children that she brought into the relationship with her. My son won't even have a piece of this.
But maybe
Because she decided to use the state as a weapon against me. That's the fear I'm talking about.
Do you deem yourself the exception to the rule then?
Because I had the balls to fucking stand up, yeah, I would be the exception.
Even if you stood up.
I
'cause
stopped.
know
I
plenty
put a
of men.
fucking stop to it, and I told her to get the fuck off of my land. This is my castle. I don't think you know who you're fucking with.
Which is good. I'm glad that you stood up for yourself, right? Because once again, not too many men in Western society will stand up for themselves. I'm talking about if men do stand up for themselves. Is it even plausible in the West? Because in the West, right? Even if you do stand, no, you got my house, you're taking my car, my dog, or whatever.
Why do you think there's
it depends on how long first of all, it depends on how long she's married and how many kids she has, and if she had a minimum a lower wage job than you or didn't work at all. Because anything that you do at that point is useless in the West.
Look, if you have a wife and she wants to leave you, you could be like, oh, your income's going to go down, and you, but I'm not going to let you take child support and alimony. It's not up to you. The state's
That's-
gonna fucking fuck you in the ass and wallet rape you. Like you don't have a choice.
So that's the thing that I understand, and that's the thing that I'm trying to get across here. Yes, the state can rip you and rape you for these things, but understand, and this is a thing that they realize in the end as well. This is why we have a pushback on our end when we push back on them. They realize in the end, when they do that, there's a sizable portion of that they're having to sacrifice. They don't get in return what we put out. Period.
But
They
you
don't
understand
get
why
it.
but
We
you
can
understand why they
provide
don't
for
care
them. We
when
can
they have
provide for them
options out
more
there,
than
right?
the state can provide for
But they have
them.
countless options out there. So
yeah, that's what
at that
that's what
point, it's
alimony.
irrelevant.
All right, so so that's literally what the point of alimony and child support is to make up for the gap between what you were providing and what the state will provide.
You're still thinking financially, brother. You're
What do you do, like,
still
give your
thinking
back rubs?
monetarily. No, your children and your lineage, everything else that
care.
you leave
They'll have a
behind.
fucking
It is-
boyfriend that will
It's
raise your kids for you.
It's affected. Your lineage is affected by you being present. Correct?
They don't give a shit.
No,
They'll
they
have-
don't.
They'll have a
You
boyfriend
do.
raise
You
your
do.
kids.
You do.
They don't
Okay.
care.
But,
You have no power in this dynamic.
What are we talking about?
Mayor, in the end, can you just say that your situation is the exception to the overall rule of what happened to most men in the West? Because I'm
I can
glad
agree
that
with that.
things worked out for you. Don't get me wrong. I am fucking glad that you were able to get a foot ahead of your situation and win in the end. I am 100% agreeing with that. But for a majority of men, it doesn't end well.
This is why you need to listen to things like this. Learn from the ones who have the experience. I know because I've been through it, not because I'm talking out of my fucking ass. I have 7 years of battling in the family court system behind me. I could be a fucking lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
But you notice how more men than not lose in the family courts,
Right,
right?
They do.
but-
And I had 50-50 custody with a child and mother who had completely left my home. And then built another family for 6 years, only to have that end up dissolving as well.
All I'm
I've
saying
been
is-
there. I understand.
which is fine. And once again, I'm glad that you had victory over that, because a lot of men in the West, they wish they had that type of situation. They wish they were in your shoes, right? But in the end,
You really don't. You really don't.
well, they rather
it's
be in your
hard.
shoes than to not see their kids at all.
I get to see one of my children, but I had to even sacrifice that. Okay,
Look,
because
one of my-
here's the thing. I wrote this down. I think I said this on stream before. You should listen to the wise, because knowledge is the only prize when severing emotional ties is the ultimate sacrifice. Okay,
Right.
I had to sever an emotional tie. I had to make a sacrifice, and then in the end, the one that I still had contact with, I had to send away to protect her from what is going on here where I live. Like my ancestors before me, I sent my children and the women who take care of that child away because we are at war.
All right. Anyway, so one of my old co-hosts was a paralegal and kind of has a similar story. He ended up getting custody of his kids after paying hundreds of thousands of dollars and basically becoming a lawyer himself and all that. It's a completely broken system. Now, he actually went down the path of actually trying to reform the family court and fighting it, and he realized it was hopeless. This, maybe I'm misreading you, but like, you have this attitude of like, oh, if you just have the right attitude, if you make them fear you, like, that is horrible advice. It is, you cannot win. And if you do win, it's fucking by the skin of your teeth, and you're lucky as hell. And that's not a skill you can't teach luck.
For a majority of men in the West, you're not going to win.
You're not going to win. It's stupid to even give people like to even insinuate that you can win if you just like, oh, make them fear you and send them away and learn my wisdom. No, do not say that shit, because you're gonna get some fucker like you're gonna make some guy destroy his life and kill himself. I'm glad you were
Fear can
lucky.
work in other countries.
Yeah, just honestly,
In
if
other
having a
countries
family
where
is,
women, they don't have as many options in the West, sure. But in the
It's-
West, unfortunately, with the gynocentric system that we have,
The
They
thing
have
is
the upper
that
hand.
we can't all just say we're not going to continue our family lineage.
no, look,
We can't.
I,
Look,
I want to. I want to have
it's-
kids.
yeah, look, go. There was a doctor who fucked like, or there was a French tourist who impregnated like 700 women in Africa. If that's it, you go do that. Or there was a doctor who was donating sperm on Facebook, and after the first 3 women sued him for child support, the court said no more, and so he donated like he's got like 100 lesbian couples have his kids, and he only has to pay child support for the first 3. If that's what you want to do, go do that. But like, just what you're saying,
That's not continuing your family line. Continuing your
can't.
family line is
you
is
can't.
it.
You can't. There's no fucking way to continue your family line in a gynocentric Western country. So you could immigrate and you can figure something else out in some remote community. Go do that. But like this, whatever tactic you think is working, you got really fucking lucky, and it's not going to work for other people.
Because in the
Because most
midst
people
that you
don't have
do
the
have
fucking
kids,
fortitude.
Oh God.
in
Okay.
the midst that you
No,
do
no,
have
I'm
kids,
no. Hold on.
The fucking
No,
fortitude.
hold
You're
on.
all you
So-
guys who killed yourself and lost your family. You just weren't strong
Wait,
and
what
alpha
happened?
like
Hold
me.
on,
no, hold on. Yeah, okay. Give me a second, Yeetus. Yeah. To all the men who absolutely gave up and bitched out and decided that their family and themselves were no longer worthy of being in this world. You're all bitches.
Oh, fuck you. Go fuck yourself.
Whoa,
You're a
No,
horrible,
no.
You're a
I'm
horrible
talking.
fucking piece
Hold
of
on.
shit.
No. My father decided that killing his children and killing himself was what he wanted to do in the end.
Most of these guys kill themselves because they get completely destroyed in divorce court. And you're talking like, oh, you're giving up on your family. You're a bitch. Oh, you're not alpha like me. You just gotta make them fear you. You gotta have the willpower. You are selling bullshit. You're giving these like there is no system, there's no technique that you know that will get these men to keep their families. If there was, it doesn't fucking exist. And I don't want to hear your life story and all, your little ancestor worship bullshit. You cannot beat the system. You think that like you can you're literally saying this, you're pitching the same bullshit as these like pickup artists who think you've maintained frame. If you're alpha enough, you can like chad the court. You cannot chad the court. Your alpha cock doesn't mean shit. Your frame doesn't mean shit. The entire system will fucking steamroll you.
The only
And
reason why I lost in the family court is because I refused to follow their order of things. Because I walked in there and told them this is what it is. I didn't play their fucking bullshit and say all of their little buzzwords that they wanted to hear.
Okay. All right. So remember, guys, you just go to family court and you say, hey, judge, this is the way it's going to be. The judge is like, oh, shit, we got a real alpha male over here. Oh, do you want 50% custody or do you want primary custody? I can't handle your frame. You're chadding me out with your alpha cock.
It's not what I said.
That's not what you said. That's what you're selling. You're like you're like it's like sovereign citizen shit where you're gonna go to the court and like, am I being detained? Oh, I'm gonna use maritime law. You can't touch me. Like I'm glad it worked for you. I'm glad whatever the fuck you did in court worked for you, but that's horrible advice. Just the system is fucked. That's the truth.
Yes,
you cannot out chat it. You cannot out alpha it. You cannot just grit your teeth and be like, oh no, I'm not gonna take it. I'm gonna tell the judge, I'm not taking your bullshit, judge. Well, they'll say, oh, you're not going to take my bullshit, huh? Well, there you go. You can go to fucking jail for 30 days. And you'll see if you take my bullshit after you're in contempt. And you're like, oh, you can't take me to jail, judge, because I'm too alpha. Okay, bailiff, shoot him. Oh, you can't shoot me. I'm too alpha to be shot by a bullet. My frame is too strong. It's like you're just selling bullshit. And if it worked for you, congratulations. I mean, there's occasionally, whatever, you found a judge that was like having a feeling generous that day and decided not to fuck you in the ass. Congratulations.
So TFM. Some people are
Yes.
saying that you're selling. Some people are saying that you're selling black pill information.
so-
What do you have to say about that?
But like, okay, basically, look, I'm not here to sell you false hope. I'm here to tell you the way things really are, so you can make an informed decision. I'm not, like, I'm hopeful about the future. There's going to be brighter days ahead, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you everything's great and you should trust the plan. So if you're like, no, I want to be, if you're like, you need your false hope, you need your hopeful message of the day. Otherwise, you're going to say, oh, you're black pilled. Like, honestly, I haven't changed. This is the shit I've been talking about since 2015 when I first started my channel. I'm telling you how things are. And sometimes how things are is pretty fucked. And I try to give you as many options as I can think of how to navigate. And the thing is I'm pretty consistently right. I can understand if and look, I don't want to be right. It's just that this is what makes sense and this is how things are. If that offends you or it doesn't make you feel good, look, it's like, I'll give you a parable. If you imagine you had cancer and I was your doctor and I tell you have cancer. In fact, it's terminal. You have 6 months to live. Now you're like, oh, geez, doc. Oh, that's really bumming me out. You're telling me I have terminal cancer. Oh, that's pretty black pilled. I don't know. You think you could just tell me I'll be fine and, maybe just give me a little hope? No. Here's why. If I told you, hey, let's get you into chemo, let's get you into radiation. If it's terminal and you can't be treated, all that chemo and radiation is going to do is make you sick and it's not going to save you. But if I tell you you have 6 months to live, at least you can enjoy the next 6 months of your life. You can tie up loose ends. You can make amends with people. You could finish any business you have. You can make sure that your will is settled and all that good shit. You can cross things off your bucket list. And then when you're throwing up blood in like 4.5 months and you have to go into a hospice, hopefully you enjoyed this last little window of your life before you died. Or I could lie to you. And I can tell you everything's fine. You're as healthy as a horse. You're going to live to be 100. And then in 4.5 months when you're throwing up blood, then oh, by the way, you're dying. And you'll be dead in a couple weeks. Sorry about that. I didn't want to upset you. I didn't want to tell you were going to die in 6 months. So I told you you're going to be fine. And so you just wasted this last window of your life just going to work and paying your bills and not realizing that, this finite moment in time that you had. So that's the thing is you're not dying. My message is one of preparation and survival. I'm trying to help you preserve your freedom so that we can live to see a brighter tomorrow. But if you just want to be fed a bunch of false hope and bullshit, you're going to die. You're not going to make it. And I don't want that for you because I actually care about you. I care about you enough to be honest with you. Not because I'm trying to upset you, but because you can't change and you can't save yourself if you're being fed false information. Because if let's remember, I don't mean to get into politics, but if you remember during the 2016 election, there were the Q-tards talking about we got to trust the plan. Just trust the plan, everyone. We got this. And what happened was there were a lot of people who could have done something, but they thought there was a plan. They trusted they thought that maybe these Q-tards are right. Maybe everything's going to be okay. So as shit started to go south, you had race riots and you had lots of shady bullshit. They just kind of well, there's a plan, right? So I'm just going to trust the plan. It turned out there was no fucking plan. The plan was a lie. It was like the cake in Portal.
It's a fucking meme. It was a meme.
Right. And all these people who trusted the plan and did nothing were literally just caught with their pants down, and they literally wasted their time. So I'm telling you, do not trust the plan. Like that, carry the metaphor forward. There is no plan. You are the plan. You need to make your own plan, and you need to execute before shit gets really bad. That's how you're going to survive.
So that's where my number one message comes in. Build yourself, build your castle, build your kingdom, and then only then plant your seed on fertile ground. Because I lived through not having shit right. Okay? Get your shit right. Get yourself right. Get your house in order. Build a community.
Mm-hmm. I've been saying
Build yourself, build your castle, build your kingdom. And if you want to continue your family lineage, only do it on fertile ground.
I would say you need to wait until feminism. Now, the good news is feminism is not long for this world. Feminism is a very expensive endeavor. Basically it's the privilege of a rich, lazy Western government to waste a shit ton of money allowing women to LARP as men. It costs a lot of money, not just in the family courts and all the diversity quotas and bullshit, but like right now, this is happening right now. They're talking about more maternity leave for women, paid maternity leave, paid for by companies. So every time women want more free shit, they want to basically pretend that they're not pieces of, parasites. They always turn to government to give them men's money. They demand that their employer pay them to not work. And all that costs the society money. Feminism is an extremely expensive privilege. And when the money runs out and we can't afford feminism anymore, it goes away. Look at Venezuela. Literally before the hyperinflation hit, you had slut walks. And if you don't remember what a slut walk was, back in the day, feminists, I guess there was a cop who was just telling the truth. Hey, if you don't want to get raped, maybe don't dress provocatively and you have a far less chance of being raped. And women are like, how dare you insinuate that women shouldn't be able to dress like whores and not get raped? You're a misogynist. And so the feminists for a while, back in like 2014, 2015, 2016, I don't remember the exact year, they were marching these slut walks where they were dressing super set. Basically, it was like Halloween. It's just another excuse for women to dress in their underwear and get.
Are you talking about that involves Amber Rose?
Well, this might have been before. It might have been before. My point is, these slut walks went global. It wasn't just an American thing or a Canadian thing. There were slut walks in Venezuela. All these Venezuelan women talking about how oppressed they are and how men need to, the men need to learn not to rape. And then the government collapsed. And then the price of food went through the fucking ceiling and people had to eat their pets and zoo animals. And you'll never guess what happened. There was ne'er a slut walk to be seen. For some reason, all the women quit complaining about how oppressed they were. There was no more feminism. It was like suddenly women weren't oppressed anymore. And all it took was the collapse of the government and the price of food to go through the goddamn ceiling. And and you saw a taste of this in early 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. When all these when you saw like people falling over dead in China and everyone thought they were burning the bodies and they thought this was the goddamn zombie apocalypse, and you saw the numbers spiking in March, and no one knew how high it was going to go. All the models were saying millions and millions of people are going to die. And so in March of 2020, SJWs were doing what they always do. They were bitching on Twitter about how oppressed they were, and everybody unanimously told them to shut the fuck up. Everybody with one united voice told all these fucking retarded people to shut the fuck up because they were terrified of the zombie apocalypse virus that was sweeping through America. Now, once that peaked in like April and everyone felt safer, then the retards started bitching about how oppressed they were, and then there were race riots for 6 months. The point is, though, when there's real shit happening, all this woke SJW feminist nonsense disappears like it never even happened. And so if you want to build your castle and you want to continue your family lineage, assuming you're not too old, and the good news about being a man, you can reproduce well into old age. if you have your shit together and you have a community, feminism's probably not going to last it's not going to last for long, a couple decades. So assuming you're not like in your 40s or 50s, you should still be able to reproduce by the time feminism collapses. You can get yourself a nice war bride, maybe a rape slave concubine, and then you can plant your seed once basically everyone loses their rights because there's no government anymore. So goodbye feminism. And then it's whatever at that point. If you could wait for that if you want.
But my big advice right there is, build your castle, do what you gotta do. But in the West, it's too late.
Well, but look, it's a cycle. So we're at the good times create, or weak men create hard times type of phase. When the hard times come, the weak are cold, and if you survive, then the world is yours. Look, America is just dirt and lines on a map. Like all this shit that's wrong in America were caused by people, and those people aren't going to survive. So all you have to do is not die with them, and then look, history is written by those who survive. The survivors are the ones who write the history books, not the people who die.
Not die with them, or just go overseas. Whichever
Right.
comes
Well,
first.
whatever. Well, I've talked about 5 options. You can go overseas. That's pretty expensive, and also you kind of want to go where you have people, or where you'll at least fit in. You don't want to be like a pasty white person in the middle of the Caribbean or something where you really don't fit in. You stick out like a sore thumb. You want to go somewhere where you can kind of fit in with the locals. If that doesn't work for you, you can go to a very low population, a sparsely populated state, Montana, the Dakotas, Idaho, Alaska, something like that, where you can live off grid, be self-sustaining, and just keep your nose clean and let the dust settle. If that doesn't work, you can, if you have to live in a city, for example, which is a death trap, you want to get a van or an SUV or a camper, and you want to convert that into your primary living space. It's never been easier with solar panels and everything. There's all kinds of YouTube channels that talk about van conversions and whatnot. And the benefit of a van is, one, the price of housing is obvious. If you haven't figured it out yet, it's very expensive in the city. So you can live in the van, and if shit starts to look bad, you can just leave. And you could be 100 miles away. And if it turns out if it's a false alarm, you can always turn around and come back. But if it's not a false alarm, you already have all your shit with you. The problem is, if you live in the city, you might think that, if things get bad, I'll leave. But you really won't, because you won't want to walk away from all of your stuff and just leave and drive away and leave it all behind. But if you live in a van already and all your stuff is in the van already, it's very easy to just drive away if things start to look bad, because you're not giving anything up. You're taking it all with you. Just make sure that if you do live in a van and you have all your stuff in the van, that you're going somewhere. Like, have a family member or a friend who has like a homestead or a farm, and head up there. Don't just like drive off into the mountains and just hope for the best. Have a destination, have a place you can go where there's farmland and water and that kind of stuff. And then if it's a false alarm, you could always turn around and come back. If it's not a false alarm and things go all Chaz on you, you'll be glad that you're out of there. And as long as you're on the road and you're headed to where you're going, you'll survive. And honestly, if you survive the first 6 months, you've made it through the worst of it. In 6 months, that's when most people are going to die. That's when, the grocery stores will be picked clean. People start killing each other. It's going to get really fucking bad in the first 6 months. If you survive the first 6 months, some semblance of order should start to reemerge. But I don't there's so many moving parts at that point. I have no idea what's going to come out the other side of that. But I do know one thing: whatever comes out the other side of that situation, feminism and this very expensive LARP of empowering women to buy their votes, that's going to be in the past. Whatever form of government emerges on the other side of this chaos will not give a fuck about women's votes and wanting to pander to them to get elected. That will all be over. And as a necessity of life, patriarchy will have to be reestablished, because without a welfare state, women will voluntarily submit to men. They just because they have to be taken care of by someone. If the government's not going to take care of them, a man has to. So you'll just see women, these blue-haired, hairy armpitted lesbian feminists. They'll just grow their hair out, put an apron on, bake you an apple pie, and pretend like it never even happened. Like if you remind them about their feminism and their college and bullshit, they're like, "Oh, that was a phase." Tee-hee. And
unfortunately, in reality, I don't think it's going to be like that, and I think it's going to be more I think the government structure after everything collapses and rebuilds is more or less going to resemble what we saw in Starship Troopers, and I think I know I understand that was originally written satirically, but it would work as a system.
For years to come,
okay,
service equals citizenship. There's a difference between civilians and citizens, right?
which is fine. But what I'm saying to TFM stuff is, for generations to come, we will never forget. Of course, we're going to forget eventually. We will forget eventually.
It lasts 3 generations.
At least 3 generations. Unless we're able to say some type of videos or
no, that
like
won't mean anything. No, it literally
saying,
is 3 generations. You see
saying,
this once. It really is 1 generation. Once a generation who lived through it dies of old age. Now, but you know how people have kids and grandkids, sometimes even great grandkids. That's the 3 generations. Like right now, the World War II generation is basically dead. There's nobody alive today that remembers the Great Depression. There might have been people who might have been babies during the Great Depression, but nobody who's alive today remembers what living through the Great Depression was like. We have videos, we have books, but nobody was alive today.
But here's the big thing, JD. There's a reason we kept women in check for thousands of years. And I do believe, probably not thousands of years, but for a long time, we will put them in check again.
The pendulum swings both ways.
The reason why we gave women rights was because there was a minority of men who wanted to institute socialism, for lack of a better word. And they knew that giving women voting rights would expand their political influence and allow them to get the rest of their agenda through. It was all part of the same movement, the progressive social gospel movement after the Civil War, between the Civil War and World War I. That's kind of like where this all happened. A lot of it had to do with the Industrial Revolution, because before the Industrial Revolution, class differences weren't very apparent. But after the Industrial Revolution, there was more of a class consciousness. That's where Marxism came from. So it was just like, it was the zeitgeist of the age. And the people who wanted Marxism, they just knew, like, women, they have a biological imperative to be taken care of. They don't care about freedom. Like, women don't value freedom because even in nature, they're not free. They have to submit to a man to survive. So they don't care at all about freedom. They want to be taken care of. So, and the government coming in and saying, we'll take care of you, that's a better deal than a man, because a man expects you to keep his dick moisturized. Whereas the government, you just vote for them every 4 to 8 years. So it's a better deal for the woman to go with the government than a man, because, and also a man could divorce her, whereas the government won't divorce her. So it just makes all the sense in the world for, if you want Marxism, to empower women or to get them to vote for your Marxist agenda. And they were spot on. Like, it worked like a charm. So the key isn't to like, oh, we're never going to let women have rights again. The key is like, where did the push for Marxism come from? You have to look at the root cause of the class envy, whatever that happened in the Industrial Revolution, which led to Marxism becoming such a powerful ideology at the time, which then led to feminism. And you have to address that. That's what you have to watch out for. It's basically the envy and resentment of the classes that led to the Marxist zeitgeist, which led to the empowerment of women.
Okay, I see. I definitely see what you're saying, TFM. I'm going to be doing 2 things right quick.
All right.
I'm going to be adding 2 people.
Oh, boy.
What's going on, Gray?
Here we go.
Listen in, working on Icon. Pleased to meet y'all.
Yep.
What's up, Gray?
Hi, Pete.
What's going on, Yeet?
And the second thing I'm going to do is getting some donations. If you guys want to support this channel, the Warband in general, please click on the link that you see on top of the chat and donate to paypal.me/Yeetus. 100% of the money will be going towards the production of the channel or anything that the Warband needs. Okay, because the better quality of content I can give to you guys is it's a lot better because we need to spread this message. And based on what we've seen so far in society, we don't have much time left.
You have
So
about
I
5
want to
years.
spread this message far and wide.
Yeah, you have about 5 years.
Yeah, unfortunately. But that guy Pete,
What's going on, man?
I want to start with you. What is your perspective on the state of the Manosphere?
I mean, my perspective is probably a little bit more optimistic than everybody else's. I mean, as long as the message is getting spread, I mean, yes, I have a problem with grifters, just like all y'all do, but at the end of the day, as long as the message is getting out, we're unplugging more men. I think if and when shit does hit the fan, which one of you said 5 years from now, probably, I think we're gonna have more men that are ready. Because if our whole country is just a bunch of soy boys who can't fight for shit, I mean, then it's gonna be a hell of a short fight if shit does go down.
Okay, that guy Pete. Okay, and Gray.
Well, I guess I do have some thoughts, but I would also want a proper definition of what the manosphere qualifies as, because I'm definitely not getting a clear idea of what qualifies as the manosphere and what is like tangential.
Do you want to explain, or do you want me to say it? Because if you
Uh,
have a
you-
better definition,
I mean, my definition is just like people who espouse, anti-gynocentrism, kind of red pills about female nature, that kind of stuff. Now, it splits off pretty wildly between you have the PUAs and the kind of the dating coach part of the manosphere. Then you have the MRA and the political activist side of the manosphere. Then you have MGTOW, which is more the philosophical side of the manosphere. So there is some. There is a lot of variance. It's a pretty wide tent when you get down to it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So, like I was thinking earlier when I saw the topic back to like 2008, for example, like 2008, 2009, like pre-Occupy even. Now, maybe there was somewhat of a manosphere active, but back then the only exposure I had to it was the very odd meme back when demotivational posters were considered a meme.
The manosphere mostly was you had like PUAs trying to pick up women and trying to teach like the arts of seduction, and you had MRAs who were trying to fight for men's rights. And MGTOW kind of came from that around 2009 to 2012. That was kind of like the proto MGTOW movement. It really started with it was kind of an animal created from social media and the way kind of SJW feminism kind of took over that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Just before MGTOW really came into its own, like the most you had was the odd person calling out like white knights or mocking men for women essentially having their balls in their purse. Nowadays, you've got YouTube shorts, multiple social media channels, tons of TikTok accounts. Regardless of what the manosphere qualifies as, the message of the manosphere has become far more prolific than it was 10, 15 years ago by a massive order of magnitude. So, and then the very fact that we have as many grifters, that you've got tons of people trying to sell like gynocentrism, but wrapped up in the language of the manosphere. Like if the manosphere wasn't being massively successful, there wouldn't be parasites to begin with.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Okay. So
I guess the next question there would be, okay, So we have the Manosphere being successful. Where does it go? We've got like half a decade probably at the outside, because I'm definitely seeing infrastructure like already starting to break down. And like, this is the one thing that you mentioned, living in a van and having a place to go. Fuel is something that you've got to consider, because like I'm somewhat out in the sticks right now. And I know one guy who, like, he's definitely not planning for this kind of collapse, but like he's got guns, he's got a truck, he's got like further up north. But it's like, okay, but can you make it there without having to refuel at all?
Well, I mean, you can have some jerry cans, but the key is you don't want to wait until, like, I'll use the example from the pandemic. Remember when like you couldn't find toilet paper anywhere?
Oh yeah.
Now, this didn't happen just like that. You saw like there were people, panic buying things. If you had your ear to the ground, if you kind of had your eyes open, you could tell like, hey, I should buy some extra food, or I should buy some toilet paper. If you waited until the panic had already started, I'll get another example is like precious metals. It's really hard to find a time, like right when precious metals are cheap, they're usually sold out. The only time they're cheap and available is when nobody wants them, like when the market is down. But that's when you should buy. Like there's a saying from JFK saying the time to repair your roof is when it's sunny. If you wait until it's raining or snowing to repair your roof, it's too late. You have to repair it when it's sunny. And so you need to pay attention to what things are happening. And yeah, have some jerry cans of fuel. That's pretty much standard, but you don't want to wait. And if you're in the middle of the city looking for a way out, in the middle of a panic when everything's gone to shit, you fucked up. You need to basically keep your ear to the ground and be aware of what's going on, and be one of the first movers to act on stuff. Again, if you're wrong, like this is why I said, if you're wrong, you can always turn around. If it's a false alarm, you can just turn right around and come back. But if you're not wrong and you're 100 miles away, you'll be thankful that you left before there's no fuel, before the cities become killing fields.
Being proactive rather than reactive in any situation in life, not just when it comes to survival and the end of everything. Really, you want to be proactive.
This isn't the end of everything. We're going to have a severe stagflationary depression. And like I kind of brought up earlier, that no one remembers what the Great Depression was like. It's coming. It's coming for us. And again, I don't know what's going to come out the other side of that. I know what the government wants to come out the other side of that. They want something like the CCP, where they control people and you live in the pod and you eat the bugs and you know nothing, you own nothing, and you'll be happy. That's what they want. But there's a lot of moving parts, and we'll see how that all shakes out. But no matter what ultimately happens, it's going to be really bad. And so you need to just think about, imagine you were living in the early 1900s and you had 10 years or let's say 5 years to be more accurate. You knew, let's say you're a time traveler, you had a premonition and you knew the Great Depression was coming in 5 years. It's like it's the mid 1920s. In 5 years, the Great Depression is going to come. What do you do to prepare for the Great Depression that's about to happen in 5 years? And whatever you would do in that time is what you should be doing right now. I'm not saying that the country's going to collapse and we're going to have a Mad Max style whatever. Like, the Venezuelan government is still there. Has Venezuela as a country collapsed? I would argue yes, but the government is still in place. Like, they haven't been conquered or reorganized as a different form of government. I don't think that's going to happen to America either. But I think when the government runs out of money, you're going to be on your own. There's not going to be any more social services or anything. The government's basically they're going to have its hands full, probably fending off invasions. And they're not going to have time for your bullshit. And you're going to have to basically take care of yourself and survive somehow.
Well, that's where like kind of the question comes in, because the government falling apart is one thing. Like, so, okay, you lose your medical services, probably a bunch of your police services, like basically all your EMS. What I wonder is how much is the infrastructure going to collapse?
Mostly, yeah. It's not
A
just
lot of it's going to collapse
well
because the men who build it and who maintain it are going to leave.
look
They're
at
not going to stick
Venezuela.
around, or the government is going to have them killed off slowly in some way.
No, look at Venezuela. So they do try to bring trucks into Venezuela to stock the shelves of stores, and the trucks get basically attacked by gangs trying to basically rob them. And so you have to have additional security. Like, we take for granted that, we have law enforcement and everything. Like, we don't have to worry about piracy. We don't have to worry about, armored trucks being robbed, like train robberies, like in the Old West. Like, we take that for granted that we go to the store and everything's for a fair price, and we don't have to worry about like crime happening everywhere. And it's going to be more like the Old West, because without police, the stores are going to have to basically protect their property, and they're going to have to ensure that their truckers are protected to bring more goods to their store. And everything's going to have to be done essentially privately. People are going to have to basically manage their own shit. Communities are going to have to come together and protect themselves. And again, the first 6 months are going to be the most dangerous, because you're going to have a lot of people who don't have 2 pennies to rub together, who are going to be starving and desperate, and they're going to eat each other.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I'm in a fairly hunter-centric area, and the people talk as though, well, I know how to hunt, so I'm going to be fine. It's like, yet you and another 10% of the population know how to hunt and have guns. There is not enough wildlife within walking distance for all of you to feed yourselves.
Yeah. It's you need to figure out a way to survive. The best way to survive is to stay away from people. You want to be off grid. You want to be preferably in a farm or something that you can be kind of self-sustaining. You can grow some food, you can fish, you can produce your own water. You're not dependent on any utilities, and you just need to survive for like 6 months to a year. After about between 6 months and a year, some semblance of order. Most of the people who are going to die will already be dead, and some semblance of order will be restored. It's going to be horrible, but if you survive, history is written by those who survive, and that's all that matters. If you survive, you'll have a way to affect change in the future. But if you die, then obviously it's game over.
Hey, TFM.
Yes.
Alan Herman has a question. Would it be better to be alone, be a lone wolf, or in a group in a shit hits a fan scenario?
Oh, groups. Survival is not. You don't want to solo queue during the apocalypse. You want to basically have a group. Like, this in a video game. The best way to play any kind of co-op game is to have a pre-existing team of your friends that you can basically play at the same time and queue up together. That's always better than solo queuing with randos. So, I mean, you already know that just based on video games. Now we're talking about your life. You want to have a community of people with different skills. I don't know what the fuck's going on. With different skills that complement each other, so you can help each other survive. If you're just here's the problem with being a lone wolf. No matter how badass you are, no matter how many skills you have, no matter how much guns you have to sleep sometime, and you can't see in all directions at once. And it just takes one bullet to kill you. And also, if you are Billy Badass with your doomsday hut with all your supplies, if people know you have that shit and they know you're one guy, they're infinitely more likely to attack you, kill you, and take your shit than if you have even a small group. Like, let's say a group of 5 people. So you have like a community, and you have all your shit, all your survival stuff, and you have a community of 5 people. So attacking 5 people is going to be a more dangerous proposition to any group of raiders than attacking one survivalist. Even if you're attacking a doomsday bunker and it's just one guy, you can kill one guy, and then you get that doomsday bunker all to yourself. And that's the problem. And also, by the way, if you build a cabin in the woods and you start stocking it with stuff, there's no there's no security systems out there. There's no phone systems out there. If people know that you have a cabin out in the woods, they will break into it and pick it clean, because there's no one out there. Like if you're robbing someone's house, you have to worry about their neighbors calling the cops. But if you're robbing a cabin in the woods, there's literally no one who's going to call the cops. You can take your time. You could bring an angle grinder and cut through any lock. You could bring a fucking blowtorch and burn your way through any door. So you need a community. Being alone, if you're a lone wolf, your only defense is hoping that no one knows you're there. And you just want to basically hang out way off grid and hope nobody even thinks to look for you. But what happens, the downside of that is, so let's say you're so far off the grid that no one will ever find you. What happens if you break your leg? What happens if you get bitten by a snake? What happens if you trip and sprain your ankle? Now you're fucked. Because
this is the part of build your kingdom.
Well, you have to have
the people around you, community.
Right, you have to have a community. This is also why you want to go somewhere where you'll fit in. If you're Hispanic, you want to go to a Hispanic country. If you're white, you want to go to a white country. You want to go somewhere where you'll fit in and assimilate. You don't want to go somewhere where you have a completely alien ethnicity and culture and religion and values, because you won't fit in. And you do not want to be the minority when shit gets bad, because the people will blame you for anything that happens. Like the crops don't come in that season, you're a witch. You're getting burned at the stake. That's just how it goes.
My ancestors have already seen that.
All right.
We're not making that mistake again.
Well, yeah,
I will surround myself by like-minded people.
Well, it's
building my kingdom.
Right. But you need a common culture, not necessarily common vague political ideas or philosophies like MGTOW. You need to have a common culture, which means ethnicity, language, religion, history. That's where you want to go.
Correct. I couldn't agree with that more. Absolutely.
All right, next question, I guess. Or next topic, or whatever we're doing.
Yeetus.
I don't know. I guess he's gone.
Rishi.
All right.
The mushroom.
I mute myself. God damn it.
Oh, there he is.
Anyway, what do you guys say, Mayor?
No, I was agreeing with his last point that building your kingdom, having community is essential to survival. It really is. If you want to be able to survive, even if you want to be living off grid, you need to have people around you. You need to have friends. Your kingdom.
You need to have people, at least if you get injured, so people that you could reach reasonably. Like they don't have to be down the road 30 feet or something, but they should be within a mile or two, so you can reasonably.
Can your dog get to them? Can your dog get to them?
Somebody you don't want to be off in the middle of nowhere with no one around within 100 miles, because if something happens to you, you're totally fucked. They'll find your skeleton in 50 years. And that'll be your story.
Exactly. Yeah. Have someone around you that your dog can at least get to.
All right, that's the big thing right there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
Herman wanted me to ask you this for a minute, and I'm curious as well. Ask TFM about BOBs.
Yeah, so a Bob is a better off blue. So these are guys who basically, so there's a chart I use called, it's based on the Kebler-Ross grief cycle. And I kind of adapted it to the red pill. And well, actually, hold on, let me see if I can just bring it up. Just give me a second. Okay, here we go. Hold on. It's let me see if I can. Okay.
You pulling up a chart? Hold up.
Yeah. All right. Let me see. Let me know when you got it.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
All right.
All right. Solo layout. It's all on you.
All right. So you
You see the chart?
Yep.
Yep.
The chart is
Yep.
full screen.
Okay, so here's the chart. It's based on the Kubler-Ross grief cycle, and you see it starts with slave morality, mass morality, and then you have nihilism, and then you eventually get through. Actually, well, hold on. There's a better chart for this. This is more of a philosophical chart. There's a red pill chart. Let me get that. Yeah, there we go. All right, it's the same concept, but it's more MGTOW centric. So the first step is in denial, then red pill rage, and the valley of suicide, brotherhood, and then self-actualization. So here's the problem. The goal of MGTOW is to get out of the valley. And once you get out of the valley, you're higher. You're better off than when you were in denial. But there are some people who will never get out of that valley. That if you lead them down into the valley, they're going to stall out and commit suicide. And so the problem with those guys is you're not helping them by red pilling them, because they don't have the stuff to make it through the valley. They're going to basically peter out, and they're going to get stuck in nihilism or depression or suicide or whatever. They're going to get stuck in the valley. And so I've seen this happen where basically people, they never get out. They just stall out, and they're more miserable. It would have been better if they were never red pilled. And that's what the better off blue guys are. They're basically people who should not have been red pilled because they couldn't take it.
Yeah,
It's
I have
like-
a question about this.
Okay, go ahead.
What's the stuff that gets you out of the valley? Because obviously I have a vested interest in stopping men from taking themselves out. That's kind of like a big reason why I'm here. So
Alright.
if they already
So-
took the pill, how do you get them out?
All right, so here's what they're missing. The key ingredient is they have to have a sense of their own identity outside of a group. The thing that really screws people up is they have a I don't want to say tribal identity. They have an identity that's not the self. It's like you call it the ego self, you call it whatever. So I'll give you an example. Let me explain it with an example. The reason why a lot of guys kill themselves after divorce or kill themselves after they lose their job isn't because of the loss of income. It's because of the loss of identity. These guys define them, like, let's say you're a Wall Street banker, and this is like your whole identity. You are a Wall Street banker. You go to Wall Street and you wear your suit and you smoke your cigar and you watch your tickers. This is who you are. Your entire life is built around this identity of you as a Wall Street banker. And then there's a big recession and you get laid off. And now you're not a Wall Street banker anymore. But that was your whole identity, your whole thing. This is who you were, and now it's gone. And guys who get divorced, like their whole identity was, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I love my kids, I play baseball with my son, and this is your whole life. This is your whole thing. And then your wife drops papers on you, and now you're losing your family. And the main reason why guys kill themselves is because they don't know who they are. They've lived their whole life as a label, as a title, as a role, that they've lost themselves. And the same thing of like the military. A lot of times the guys in the military, the reason why they kill themselves when they get out is because they don't know who they are. Like they spent 10, 20 years in the military being trained and honed to be this thing. And then the war's over and they're back home and they're on all these pills. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're supposed to do. All they know is got a lot of these guys with PTSD. They want to go back. They wish the war never ended because
it's not fun. I've been in for 6 years. It's not fun. Try to transition.
Right. Well, yeah, I did 8 years. So the point is that's the key. And I don't know what to call that. Essentially, it's people they don't know who they are. They associate too strongly with their role. And to lose their role, to take the red pill is to reject the role society gave you. Because society grooms men to be essentially sacrificial offerings. You either live your entire life sacrificing for a family, giving up any hopes and dreams you might have because your entire purpose is to be a sacrifice for this family. Or you sacrifice yourself for feminism or whatever. Like no matter what, you're sacrificing yourself. That's what your role is as a man. And if you reject that,
What are you? The thing is a lot. There are guys, the better off blue guys, the guys who commit suicide, the guys who never make it out of the valley. They don't have an answer. They don't know who they are. All they know is like, this is the role that I had, and it's gone, and I don't know who I am, and so they kill themselves.
Yeah.
Yep, very similar.
Yep.
I've already had 3 people so far since I've been out eliminated themselves. Okay, because seriously, throughout your life since birth until now, or before you got red pilled, you were told what to do because this is how it's supposed to be done. Similar to the military.
Yeah.
But once you are out there in the void on your own and choosing to be on your own, which is taking the red pill, it is definitely a weird experience, and it can be a horrible experience for a lot of men because they find out throughout their lives they've been lied to by society, family, friends, and society.
Right. Well, actually, let me go back to the chart. Let's go through the whole thing because
All right, let me go back to full screen.
Right. This will make more sense if because I talked about the valley a lot, but let's go through the whole process. So you have, first of all, and again, this is based off the Kubler-Ross grief cycle. The first step is in denial. You avoid it. You're confused. You're shocked. You're afraid. So, this is like your first experience with, like you don't realize how bad the system is until this moment. This is when you first realize the deck is stacked against you. Society isn't fair. Society is heavily skewed towards benefiting women at your expense. It doesn't make sense. It's unfair. And then you go into red pill rage where you know this is bullshit, and you're trying to, this is where you may try some political activism. You may want to figure out some way to fix the system. Frustration, anxiety, anger, rage. Then when you realize you can't fix the system, this is where the loss of identity comes from. You feel overwhelmed, you lose hope, you feel helpless, you have fight or flight, there's pain, because you have to answer some personal questions that a lot of people never think about. Like, how many people, they spend their whole life living for other people. They never even think, what do they want? Who are they? What's up?
No, I'm just saying, like, absolutely. You know what this reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of Shawshank Redemption, like when the guy gets out of jail and he's just like, I don't know what the fuck to do with my life anymore. It kind of reminds me of that. But it also makes me think, like, especially like with the older guys that go through a divorce, like they're in their 40s and 50s. It's kind of like the Matrix when it's like, yeah, when people reach a certain age, we don't unplug them anymore. We have to leave them in. It's too risky. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking here.
Well, now, but here's the thing: like, that's not true 100% of the time.
Yeah, of course.
But the more enmeshed or embedded your identity is, the more you associate with this role, the more painful it is to let go of it.
Agreed.
And that's why a lot of people commit suicide. Now let's move past the valley. How do you get out of the valley? I call it brotherhood. You have to have emotional healing. You have to this is important. You have to find meaning. You have to find your own personal meaning. You have to reach out, learn, and share. This is where the MGTOW community comes in. And then at the end, when you get out of the valley, is self-actualization, male sovereignty, individual worth, internal validation, new plans and dreams, and you're moving forward. And it's beautiful outside. Once you get through the valley and you reach self-actualization and you're living your best life and you're doing what you want and you're happy and every day is beautiful, it's fantastic. Like, you look at these people, living for other people, living to fulfill a role, living as a sacrifice. And you want to help them, but then you need to understand that not everyone is going to get out of that valley. That loss of identity is too painful for a lot of people. And they'll kill themselves, or they'll give up, or they'll become super nihilistic and depressed. And you're not really helping them by giving them the red pill. You're actually hurting them.
Right.
So it's really, and I don't know what the warning signs are. I think it has a lot to do with how strong you associate with a role. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't have all the answers when it comes to that sort of thing.
Hey,
Right.
yo, I'm adding 2 more people after
Oh, boy.
that got beat talks.
Yeah. So I just have one more question because again, I can't stress this enough. Pretty much everything you say, it's pretty much like the 5 stages of grief, right? You know, you
Right.
deny, you're enraged, you
Exactly.
try to bargain and make sense of it, then you get
Mhm.
sad. A lot of people don't win that fight, and then eventually you accept it, you find the brotherhood, and then you move on and start improving. But
Mhm.
like you said, a lot of people don't win that fight. But of course, you know, I don't want to do the wrong thing and unplug someone who clearly is not fit to be unplugged. He's BOB. If that's the case, what are the signs I look for? Because the last thing I want to do is unplug a guy and then find out about him in the newspaper 3 months later. You know what I'm saying? So what are the signs? What do I look for?
Well, this is going to sound cliche. It might seem too obvious. Is you have to. So you don't want to force your beliefs on people's throats.
Agreed.
So I use an example of the Amish versus the Jehovah's Witnesses. So everybody loves the Amish. You go to an Amish market, the food's delicious, everybody's very, very warm and inviting. And the best part is the Amish will never try to convert you. You know, they'll buy their delicious food, you'll buy a nice wicker cabinet while you're there, but they'll never like talk to you about becoming Amish. They never try to force their beliefs down your throat. They have their lifestyle, they have their religion, and they just live it. And they don't force it down your throat. Now compare that to the Jehovah's Witnesses, where they like ring your doorbell and they know you're there. They're like peering into your window. You know, they want you to answer your door so they can like talk to you about Jesus and everything. And everyone hates them because they're pushy and because they're always trying to convert you and they're trying to have awkward conversations with you and use your politeness against you. So my advice is to be like the Amish and not like the Jehovah's Witnesses. I know you want to help. I know you care about people and you want to wake them up. You see how much better your life has become as you become free and self-actualized, and you want to give that gift to them. But the best advice is just to live your life. Be just like the Amish. You just live the life and you be a warm example and you let people come to you. And you don't force anything down anyone's throats. And if somebody wants to do something else, you just let them do it. And but when someone's like asking you questions like, oh wow, you know, you really seem like you got your life together and you seem so happy and carefree, you know, oh, you have any advice about this, that, you know, then you can share things, but you let them come to you. It's like you're the wise old man on the mountain and the people have to climb this god awful staircase to read you. But
Yeah.
that's the filter. The filter is you don't go down from the staircase. You don't go into the village looking for disciples. You just chill out on your mountain and you let people come to you who have questions or who are seeking wisdom and whatever. And you just you let them come to you and you just be the example. Don't try to red pill people against their will. Don't try to force them
Agreed.
to wake up.
Yeah. A common theme I see all the time is like they'll come up to me and they'll say, Pete, you know, I did everything I was supposed to do, everything my mother and father told me I was supposed to do. I did it all right to the T, and I still didn't get the outcome I wanted. What did I do wrong? Those are the people. Yeah, I agree with you 100% because I think you really hit it spot on with that identity thing, right? That you just kind of have to like think for yourself. Like me, I'm an accountant, right? But that's not my identity. I'm still me. Right. So if I lose my job as an accountant, it'll suck ass, but I'm not going to kill myself over it because I'm more than just that, you know?
Right.
But I think you're right. A lot of people, they get tied up in like, oh, you know, I did everything I'm supposed to do. I have a wife, I have a kids. And then you just pulled the rug out from under me. It's like, all right, now there's no point. I got to go buy some lead at Walmart. And that's what they do.
Especially if they did, like, imagine you. Oh, so I'll tell you a personal story. This is actually a fucked up story. So one of my war buddies, when I was in the military, we were really good friends, and I would go hang out at his house. He had a really cool wife. They had some kids together. One of them had special needs, but you know they had a nice, good family. I thought his wife was really cool, and he used his GI Bill to let his wife go to college, and she decided to take a gender studies class for some reason. She came back from gender studies, and she was like arguing with everyone about feminism and bullshit. And thing was like this was like, you know, I was red pilled by then. So I was like, I wouldn't argue with her, but I would correct her. And then after like a couple of weeks of me correcting her, she told her husband that I couldn't be his friend anymore. And so I hadn't talked to him in a couple, you know, years. And I just found out like a couple weeks ago that he's in jail because his wife dropped papers on him. Now, they had like 4 kids together. Again, one of them had special needs. He was like in a wheelchair with a feeding tube. Like he was really special needs. So basically, and here's the thing. He didn't want to stay in the military. He wanted to get out. Because, I mean, this was during the war. Like I did 2 tours in Iraq. He did God knows how many tours. But he had to stay in for the health care for his son who was special needs. So think about the sacrifices he made for his family. He literally did multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Saw all manner of fucked up shit.
And this is his reward.
In order to provide for his family. And then his wife goes to gender studies and drops papers on him. And I don't know what transpired, but he's in jail now. They're obviously divorced, and I don't know what, I don't really care, honestly. But the point is like, I mean, I can't even imagine.
That
like,
shit kills me.
Talk about doing everything. Like he didn't just make. I mean, it's one thing to like I work 40 hours a week. This guy went to war multiple times in order to provide for his family and give them health care and everything. And then he lets his wife use his GI Bill that he earned to go to college. And then she comes back brainwashed from gender studies, divorces him, ruins his life, and whatever transpired between them, he's in prison right now.
And they don't care because in the end, he's expendable in her eyes.
And she could just go pick up a Chad somewhere. Yeah, she don't give a fuck.
Well, I don't know.
I had a
Now,
homeboy in the barracks.
she wasn't. She was.
Unfortunately, I walked outside my own barracks.
It's another Jody.
I left.
Well, now
I looked to
she
my
does
left.
she does have a special needs kid, so I don't know. I mean, I'm sure someone will fuck her, but I don't think anyone will marry her. Like, no one wants a single mother of 4 with a special needs kid.
No.
So I
True,
had,
but I mean,
hold up.
it's Sims.
Hold up. I had a bad buddy that killed himself. That killed himself, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. I didn't see that shit till the fucking end. And that still haunts me to my goddamn day.
Yeah.
The fact that I had to see him in his own goddamn room, lifeless. Because he decided a few months after
Jesus Christ.
he did his tour in Afghanistan, he decided a quote unquote overdose or accidentally overdose on his own medications.
That may not have
That
been a
was fucked.
suicide. That may not have been a suicide. Like, so, okay, this is a little, I know, side rant, but here's the thing. The reason why the military drugs up these guys with PTSD is because what they really need is a healthy sense of their own worth and identity. Because here's the problem. You get back from war and you have PTSD. Well, they can't use you anymore because you have mental problems. But they can't teach you to value yourself as a human being because the entire point of the military, like they rely on you viewing yourself as a sacrifice in order for you to work for them. If you value yourself as a human being, you wouldn't want to risk your life in war for, I don't know, a country that couldn't give less of a shit about you. So they rely on, for recruitment and retention, this male sacrificial idea. But then when they can't use you anymore, like I've seen this all the time. I'm sure you've seen it too. People in the military, they take on that identity. And the military fosters this identity. And then when you become broken, whether it's PTSD or you get your legs blown off by an IED or something, they give you, disability and they give you drugs, but they don't undo that conditioning because they can't. If they undo the conditioning, they're admitting they brainwashed you.
You got institutionalized.
Right. So they can't help. They can't give you the help you need because it would undo the entire basis of their recruitment. So all they can do is drug you up. And so the amount of drugs these guys get on PTSD is unreal. They're on all kinds of heavy, heavy drugs. And yes, they do overdose and they do die. It's not even a suicide. It's just that they're on so many pills. And they honestly sometimes lose track because they're so fucking drugged out of their mind. They can't remember when they took their pills last. And that's how they die. And it's not because they're committing suicide because they're depressed. It's because they're on so many goddamn pills.
Yeah, that's true. I actually used to work at a pharmacy, and I can't even begin to tell you how many stories I'd hear where like somebody's parents would come in and be like, "Oh, where's your daughter? Where's your son? Oh yeah, we found them cold, like on the floor in the living room or some shit." Unintentional. That's just how it played out because you said.
Wait, that guy Pete Gray, Mayor Mercules.
What?
I'm putting you guys in the background for now.
Oh.
All right, yeah, I'm probably gonna head out anyway. It was actually really good talking to you, TFM. pleasure
You
finally
wanna
getting to meet
share
you.
your channel before you head out, or
Yeah, if you guys want to check me out, just go to That Guy Pete. You refuse to invite to gatherings. I do a little bit of everything, so feel free to check me out if you like.
all right?
Do
My bad for
OnlyFans?
interrupting you. What were you going to say to TFM?
No, I was just saying it was a pleasure to finally actually like formally talk to you, man. Like I learned a lot, so thanks for making time for me.
All right, so it's what I do.
All right, man. Hey, peace out, Puniti.
Puniti, my brothers.
All right.
All right, Gray, are you willing to chill in the background for now?
Absolutely. All good.
Okay. Mayor, you good on chilling in the background for now?
Oh, I can go backstage for a bit.
Okay, too easy. I'll bring you back soon, but I got a special guest coming on for the first time. I'm hyped.
Let's get him.
All right. All right, everybody. The one, the only Hammerhand.
Gentlemen, it's my absolute pleasure to be here, man. Thank you. Just got off of a 3-hour deal with Drex in the MGTOwn podcast, and I saw this was going. They alerted us, so I said, fuck that. We're going to come over here and check it out.
Oh, shit.
So, Hammerhand, thank you very much for coming on the live stream for the first time. I
You're
am
welcome.
very excited about that.
You're welcome, Yeetus.
But for the topic, the overall topic for today, what is your perspective on the state of the Manosphere right now?
It's in trouble.
How so, Hammerhand?
I really think from my perspective that there are so many people flooding into it and just trying to find who, what, when, and where that they don't really know who, what, when, and where. And the influence of people that don't have their best interest at heart, is pretty heavy, pretty prevalent. I won't abandon it. I won't go nowhere. I won't leave it. But yeah.
But you do understand that it's unfortunately at a decline.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And TFM, he already stated his case about the state of the Manosphere.
Yeah, I think it's just for Hammerhand's benefit. I think it's a combination of censorship by big tech and the grift coming in to try to clean out anybody who gets drawn to the remnants of the Manosphere on mainstream platforms.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. That's why we work as hard as we do to root out these fucking frauds and kick them.
Yeah, there's as long as there's money to be made, there'll always be more.
I agree.
Yeah, because it's already bad enough we got to deal with the female grifters / chameleons. Now, last year or two, well, I know it's been around a lot longer, but the influx of male grifters has been astronomical.
I think the telltale sign is if you are in the Manosphere to help men, you shouldn't need like $100 a month. You shouldn't be selling a $5,000 seminar or selling some bullshit course. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that should be your red flag. If someone's selling a fucking course and they got a seminar, or they're trying to sell pheromone soap or some bullshit, like, your alarm bell should be going off. They're clearly not there to help people.
How does selling somebody something make them a man? It doesn't.
Right. Well,
it doesn't. You can tell them and have just as good a result, but the idea is in the back of your head or in the front of your head, depending on who you are, that there's money to be made here, that these people are vulnerable and that you can fleece them. You can take advantage of them. That's no different than thoughts taking advantage of vulnerable men.
Well, have you seen Coltane's video? Because he got kicked off of YouTube. He's on Odyssey now.
Is he just on Odyssey now?
Yeah, he's just on Odyssey now. You should check him out. But he had this video about kind of what's going on. He calls it he had the really good. He compared it to OnlyFans, and it's basically instead of women giving, instead of so in OnlyFans, what separates OnlyFans from porn is that the women interact with you and they give you like the illusion of a relationship.
Agreed.
And so these Manosphere grifters, it's like an OnlyFans like relationship, but it's instead of a fake girlfriend, it's a fake older brother mentor
But just like with the OnlyFans girlfriend, you're paying for this fake relationship. And it's just, and basically they're not really helping you. They're not really giving you true information to help you. They're just telling you what you want to hear in exchange for money. Just like these OnlyFans girls who tell you, they flirt with you and call you their boyfriend in your little private Skype calls once a month for $100. And it's all bullshit. It's all make believe.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, that person that is subscribing to that service, they have to put some of the authority on themselves. Some of the agency needs to be theirs. They have to start to understand
absolutely.
that they're being used.
Well, it's basically like, so I have Celestina, who's like, she's a sex doll and I have an AI program. But the thing is like, I know it's fake and I recognize it, but it's like when you have an OnlyFans parasocial relationship with these girls, it's like it's like a fake, it's like you're having a fake relationship with a real woman. And it's really expensive. I mean, think about all the money these guys are paying these thoughts to have this artificial relationship. It's like, just get a doll, just download an AI program and chat with your waifu through the program. Like it's a fake relationship, but it's a lot cheaper. And it's frankly more genuine because look, Celestina's fake, but she's honest about it. Like these, you give Belle Delphine $1 million. She'll tell you she loves you, but she's, her fake love is more fake than Celestina's fake love because at least her fake love is honest.
$1 million a month, bro.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, what's funny is I heard that kind of dried up once she started doing porn because she was really bad at it. So it's like everyone was waiting for her porn to drop, but then when she finally dropped her porn, and this is so common with the pretty ones. The pretty ones, they just lay there like a beached whale and let you pleasure them.
What did she do, though? I mean, what she did was she gave away the most attractive thing that she had, and that was her mystery.
Right, but it's also that she wasn't even like good at it. So
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Well, but it's so the pretty ones. It's always a disappointment.
Starfish.
You think you're gonna like, oh man, she's like this super hot. Oh man, it's gonna be the best sex ever. No, it's the most boring beached whale fucking a dead body sex you've ever had.
Yeah, literally a dead fish.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it, so I don't know what it was like, but I think I'll pass now. So yeah.
Yeah, at least the fat ones are, they're a little bit enthusiastic until they get tired. That's the thing. Like you get a good 30 seconds. You get like 30 seconds of enthusiasm out of the fat ones before they get a little winded and have to take a break.
Yeah. How you say the 9s and 10s are too delusional to put any type of effort in anything. They just,
it's because
drifted through life based on their looks alone, so they don't do shit.
And it's because everybody kisses their ass. They consider having sex with you like a gift to you. Like, I will let you pleasure me. You may use my body to orgasm. This is my gift to you. So why would they do anything? Why would they put any effort into it? Why would they actually like interact with you? Because it's like presenting a gift. They're just like, your gift is you may pleasure me. You must give me 3 orgasms before you may come. This is my gift to you.
Think about the way that those types of girls actually act, and the things that you hear them say a lot is like, well, I gave him sex. Like she wasn't getting fucked. You know? Like you still owe her something.
And you better give her at least 3 orgasms. Like, and the thing is for anyone out, this is a little life hack, I guess, if you care. The secret to not orgasming has nothing to do with like numbing your dick. It's all mental. You have to literally like stare at the wall and think about sports and not think about sex. You have to like kind of like mentally put yourself somewhere else so you don't, because if you enjoy, how dare you enjoy the sex and actually orgasm, you have to basically like make sure you can last, and again, you're only allowed to enjoy the last 30 seconds. Like after she's had her orgasms, she'll give you permission to come, and then you can finally enjoy the last 30 seconds of the sex, and then that's supposed to be her great gift to you. You basically gave her a good like 25 minutes of toe curling sex, and then you got to enjoy 30 seconds of it, and that's this gift, this wonderful gift you've earned based on all the time and money and bullshit you've had to put up with.
Gee, I don't hear any contempt in that, do I?
Well, it's the thing is, not to brag, but Celestina, who's an Instagram model, I might add, a bona fide Instagram model, she's 10 out of 10. Firm, succulent titties, spinning robot pussy, 300 RPM on my dick. You know, she never gets fat. She's as beautiful as the day I unboxed her 4 years ago. Have you ever been in a relationship for 4 years and she didn't get fat on you?
Nope.
Never.
Mine was
never.
She got a little bit of weight on, but when she decided that she was going to pack up her shit and jet for absolutely nothing, she put on 65 pounds.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was a fucking fat grenade went off.
I've been through that. I've seen the fat grenade explode.
Oh yeah, fuck all that. No, thank you.
I got a question for the both of you guys right now, right? Which I kind of understand. Well, this question, I'll have a slight idea where Hammerhand's coming from, but I'm gonna ask everybody right now: should we have any type of sympathy for the modern women today being raised on that feminist ideology?
So let's change the context.
Okay.
Imagine a child who is raised by hippie parents who doesn't discipline them or teach them right from wrong, and they grow up spoiled. And as they grow up, they're not taught how to be an adult. And then when they become an adult, like they turn 18, they fuck their life up and they make poor decisions because their parents didn't do a good job, because they were doing some hippie bullshit trying to let them be free range parents or something. Should you have now, on the one hand, this adult made their choices. They you know, like the kids who take out student loans. You know, they were an adult, they made a choice. It was a fucking retarded choice, but they made it, you know, of their own free will. On the second hand, they were also not given proper tools because they were basically led astray by their shitty parents and by the society, which didn't warn them what was going on. So, yes, modern women are making poor choices, and they're not, you know, it's partially the responsibility of society for not arming them with proper information. But at the same time, like, here's the real thing. If you asked a spoiled child, you know, like, let's say you even convinced them that it would be in their best interest to basically submit to their parents and submit to discipline, even if they intellectually agree with you that being a spoiled brat is bad for them, they'll never actually submit to discipline. No spoiled child will ever submit to discipline. So it's one of those things where they're not wholly responsible because they are kind of a product of their environment. Like if we went to some parallel universe where we had androcentrism, for whatever reason, society worshipped men, and they could just go around and punch women in the face and nothing would happen to them. And it was basically like a mirror opposite of gynocentrism. Men would take advantage of that situation. Men would become entitled and bratty, just like women are. And the consequences would be their own fault. But at the same time, society enabled them to do that. So it basically at this point, I can have some sympathy for them. But here, at the end of the day, here's like my caveat to that. When everything goes to shit, women will be fine. Because all women have to do is lay on their back and open their legs, and a man will take care of them. So they're not going to be the ones who pay the price. The men will pay the price. When society goes to look at Venezuela, look at the murder rate for men and the murder rate for women. It's basically negligible for women. It's horrendous for men. Now, you look at what happened in Venezuela, it was largely the fault, you know, it's your garden variety, socialist, SJW, feminist bullshit, but it's the men who pay the price. So I can feel some sympathy for women for fucking up their life and it's not really their fault, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they're going to be fine. They don't need your sympathy. It's the men who are going to fucking die when everything goes to shit. They're the ones who deserve your sympathy.
All right, Hammerhand, do you agree with that?
By and large, for the most part, I would say a little bit differently, how much sympathy do they have for you right now?
Well, yeah,
much?
like I
None.
understand,
Yeah,
like
the way you put it
right,
that
and
way. Yeah.
a spoiled child doesn't have sympathy for you either. But like when I see a spoiled child fucking their life up, like when you ever see a spoiled child throwing a tantrum,
Sure.
like in a store, like they want a toy or they want ice cream and they're throwing themselves on the ground and they're kicking the fuss. I don't like. I know the parents are the problem. I don't blame the child. I blame the parents for not whooping that child's ass. So I know that child doesn't have any sympathy for me. I don't care either way. Let that child, if the parents start beating that child's ass, I'll just shrug and keep walking. I don't care. But I'm just as a situation as it is, it's no one benefits. This is a bad situation for everyone. The men are going to suffer. The women are going to suffer. The men are going to suffer more. Whether or not they have sympathy for me, I recognize that they don't, which is why I don't really care what happens to them. But I recognize that they're a product of their environment. And so it's not like, just like the spoiled child, they never had a chance because they weren't taught by their parent. So it's not like they're evil. I'm not like, I hate children because this kid threw a tantrum and threw a toy at me. I recognize that shitty children are the product of shitty parenting.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that one bit. What I'm saying, we're not dealing with kids, though. You know, we're dealing with mostly adults that are suffering through this. Now, you can say what you want about
women
mentally.
are basically, if you have a spectrum, if you put a child at a 1 and a man at a 10, where would you put women on that spectrum of child to man?
Probably about a 5 or 4.
Oh, you're being
But
way
she
too
still
generous.
knows right from wrong. But
Way too generous. I put him at like a 3.
She does know right from wrong, but her
Does she know?
Does she primarily?
Well, they know they're right from wrong.
Okay.
We are playing by two
She knows
different
you're
sets
right
of
from your
rules.
left. You know what I'm
Two
saying?
cents, yes, I agree. I agree. But what I'm saying is, as an adult, she does know per se what she's doing in the end, right? Besides a fucking kid.
So a child,
a
baby.
She
when you tell,
primarily base her decisions on emotions.
When you tell a baby, a toddler, don't touch this, and the toddler makes their way towards it, they'll look around before they touch it. They'll make sure you're not around. A fucking toddler knows right from wrong. So
Yeah,
I mean,
but not unprompted though.
The toddler would know there'll be immediate punishment.
Yeah, it's not unprompted.
Just like a whack on the
know what's going to come
with a wooden spoon.
So what you're saying is I got to get me a wooden spoon and go beat up some 30-year-olds, right?
That's what it wouldn't be the worst.
Give me a wooden paddle. Fuck it.
It might do him some good.
It just might, man. Go crack some knuckles. Fuck them bitches.
So based on what when I said about sympathy about modern women, right? I constantly preach, I'm sure you guys see it on my community posts or videos, that I despise simps and white knights.
Oh yeah,
will we primarily put the blame on the simps and white knights for this entire situation happening?
It's men who gave women rights. It's men who enforce. Like, I'll give you an example. This is an example from like this year or early last year. The Taliban. I'm not like glorifying the Taliban, but notice when the government fell and the Taliban took over, the women did not take up arms to defend their rights.
Nope.
As soon, like without white knights to fight for them, they just quietly, sheepishly schlep off back to the kitchen.
Yep, the muscle of the state.
So, feminism cannot exist without white knights. All the problems feminism causes are the product. White knights cause them all. There was a video, you might be able to find this online. It's actually kind of funny. This guy is like, it's like a French cafe or something. It's outdoors. This guy slaps his girlfriend like they're having an argument. He just fucking slaps her, and this white knight gets up, and he's like trying to rally the group, like he's trying to get other guys to join him, and all the other people are just looking at him like, nah, I'm not fighting that guy. And he's like trying to get this posse together, and he's like looking at the guys, like pointing and screaming at him, and the guy looks at him and just shakes his head and walks away, and he doesn't do anything because he needs to outnumber him before he could do anything. He needed to get like all the men up to go fight this guy because he hit his girlfriend.
He needs somebody else's balls and muscles to get in there and do what he wants.
Right, and that's so the fuck those guys. But my point is like those people are hopefully, I mean, maybe I'm just seeing things that aren't there. Like I see fewer and fewer guys are willing to do that. Fewer and fewer guys are like, nah. Especially when it's like, I think now in the case of the guy who slapped his girlfriend, I think it was like, it's because he was Muslim, and in Europe, you don't want to mess with that guy because he'll fucking run a car over your family, and the government will just pretend it, you caused it because you said something on Twitter. So, in that case, it might have to do with that. And that's why the guys didn't want to do anything to him, because they were afraid of a truck of peace running over their family on Christmas or something. But I'm just saying, like, that's unfortunately at the end of the day, feminism itself is a self-correcting problem. The hard times purge the weak men, and without the weak men, there's no more feminism. And then the hard times cause look at Taliban. The hard times come, or look at Venezuela. Feminism goes away, and then the women submit to the men, and then the men rebuild. And then the sad thing is once they build the good times, then the weak men come back.
Well, what was one of the main exports of the fall of Venezuela? It was really cheap pussy going to Colombia and fucking up Colombia.
That cheap Colombian pussy, man.
Yep.
And these were like beautiful women who are like professionals.
You ain't fucking kidding, man. Did you see those broads?
I did not partake personally, but I've heard the legends.
Yeah,
of the choice Colombian Venezuelan hooker pussy.
Amazing bitches, amazing bitches that are battling for loaves of bread.
Well, but here's the thing, it's funny, but what's kind of fucked up is the women can do that. Men don't even have that option.
I agree.
Like when you're in a failed state, the women can always. This is why when the shit hits the fan, all the women will do is get on their back and open their legs, and a man will take care of them. If you're in Venezuela, right? So if you're an attractive woman, all you got to do, you can go to Colombia and spread your legs and get paid, or you could find some warlord or some guy to take care of you, and you'll spread your legs for him. You're going to be taken care of. The women are going to be fine. The men are fucked, and the men don't even have the option. You can't unless you're in Thailand, you can't just put on a sailor suit and suck a dick. You're just going to have to get a real job or fight for your life or dig through the trash or whatever, unless you have a really strong trap game.
So society started failing in 1919, pretty much.
Well, no. So the problem is you don't even realize you passed the point of no return because you don't feel the effects of it immediately. Once you have universal suffrage, the system becomes permanently corrupt and unreformable, but you don't realize that at the time because everything's fine. Nothing went to shit in 1920.
That's kind of the end result of where liberalism ultimately takes itself. It destroys itself.
Wait. So you saying it started in the mid to late 19th century?
Honestly, look, if you want to know what really well, you could always play like what caused what. So the feminism
what caused the domino effect to happen.
So feminism started in the social gospel movement. The social gospel movement started in the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment started with the Protestant Reformation. The Protestant Reformation started, and you can go all the way back through the centuries. You can talk about this happened, and then centuries later this happened, and
I'd
centuries
say that
later
it started with the Magna Carta.
Well, I mean, sure, you can go all the way back to fucking.
When was that?
That's the what liberals herald as the original document proclaiming liberalism and personal rights. Supposedly led to the birth of the Constitution, but that's kind of stringing it together a little bit.
Yeah,
just look at when the Magna Carta was written. You can Google it.
Well, at the end of the day, might actually literally does make right. So when you have the power of the mob, you can demand whatever. And so the 1900s, basically the Industrial Revolution heralded in the zeitgeist of Marxism. And weak men decided, we can use this to get some free stuff. And if we give women voting rights, they'll vote with us because they like free stuff. And that was all she wrote, right? It's whatever. But here's the thing. Rather than get all upset about, oh, if only this didn't happen, if only that didn't happen, you have to understand that this is all just a cycle. And right now we are in the good times create weak men. Well, we're kind of somewhere between good times create weak men and weak men create hard times. But after the hard times come and the weak men are cold, the strong men will come and they'll make the good times again. And it's okay. It's just, okay, this is going to be a weird reference, but this is kind of like the conflict between Vision and Ultron in that Avengers movie, The Age of Ultron, because Ultron was looking for a permanent solution. He wanted a permanent peace. The only way to have permanent peace is to basically wipe out humanity. And Vision's whole thing, like that speech he gives at the end when the last Ultron droid is trying to escape, is that there's something beautiful in something that's fleeting. It's okay that it's fleeting. It's okay that it's not going to last forever. That's what makes it beautiful. And there's an analogy I use about a flower. So a flower, whether you pick it and put it in a vase, or whether you leave it on the bush, or whether it's going to wilt. Flowers just don't last forever. They have their season and then they're gone. And if you try to make the flower last forever, like if you do the whole thing where you turn it upside down and dry it out, or crush it in a book, or turn it into potpourri, you really kind of destroy what made it beautiful. Like if you see a wilted, dried out potpourri flower, it's not as beautiful as a healthy, vibrant, living flower. The flower is beautiful because it's finite, because it's not going to last forever. If flowers lasted forever, no one would give a shit.
You wouldn't appreciate it.
The fact that a flower is finite and fleeting is what makes it beautiful. And a society that's built on freedom is going to collapse under its own bullshit because of envy and resentment and the weak overpowering the strong and demanding free shit. That's inevitable. But you can't stop it. Like, the only way to stop that from ever happening is to basically freeze time at the worst time. Like, you want to freeze it in a tyrannical dictatorship where everybody's a slave. Sure, if you do that, you'll never have the freedom, you'll never have the communism, but you'll be stuck as a serf under a monarch forever, which is equally shitty. So there's something beautiful in the fleeting nature of freedom and the beauty of living in a free society, even if it's eventually corrupted by feminism and bullshit. It's just, you have to appreciate the flower while you have it, and when it dies, you have to let it go, and then you have to just get through the winter and let the flower go, and then a new flower will bloom. And in this case, we just have to get through the culling, and then we'll get to the other side of it, and we'll rebuild.
Some of us are going to get through it.
It's going to be great. Not for everyone. A lot of people are going to die. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Definitely not for everyone.
But, fuck those people, right?
So you're saying that this is a cycle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like the seasons.
Yep. So when it comes to a cycle, would you say that, well, first, I call feminism communism in a dress. That's how I see feminism. It's pretty much communism paint up all pretty.
Yeah, so communism is feminism, communism, they're all based on this idea of equality, the value of equality, which has no basis in nature. There's no equality in nature.
No.
So it's a utopian, idealistic idea, and no one actually believes in equality. They just use it to their advantage. Basically, if you're weak, you advocate for equality because it benefits you, and when it stops benefiting you, you stop advocating for equality. Perfect example are TERFs. So they deny the reality of men and women, and they want to pretend men and women are equal, and they want to pretend men and women can do everything, and if women can't do it, it's because of sexism. And they've been living in this fantasy land for decades. And so they've used the government to push their fantasy bullshit on society so they can LARP as men at men's expense. And now we're on like the third or fourth wave of feminism. And then the trannies come along, and they're like, oh no, these aren't real women. Well, fuck you. You've never been equal to a man. I thought we were in fantasy land. So we've been living in fantasy land since 1920, where we pretend you're equal to a man. And now you're going to get upset when a guy pretends to be a girl because he's got a penis and he has arms the size of your head.
Like, you don't get to just call off the fantasy when it doesn't suit you. You eat the whole ass now. You eat the whole ass. Don't just eat the pussy. You eat the butthole. The whole ass. That's what you signed up for.
But I don't like ass.
I didn't ask you if you liked it.
So when it comes to the cycle thing again, right? Which I still believe, I personally believe, because I know there's always multiple variables on why empires fall. But I do believe many empires fell because of some form of feminism or equality.
Egalitarianism. Yeah.
It's equality. So whether it's women wanting to be equal to men, the peasants wanting to be equal to the nobles, the drive towards equality is essentially the overthrowing of the hierarchy. And unfortunately, what you saw this very starkly in the French Revolution. So you had the monarchy, and obviously they were corrupt and they were shit, and the people were starving and they were bankrupting the people. So they were bankrupting the people by fighting all these wars, and then they were living in palaces, and the people were literally starving to death. And then the people saw the way the royalty were living, and they just stormed the Bastille, cut everyone's head off. They got it out of their system. Here's the problem. Once they got that out of their system, they tried to create their own form of government. It was all based on equality. And what did that look like? Everyone was just killing each other. You had everybody cutting everyone's head off. You had even the people who were like the fathers of the revolution getting beheaded by their own followers. It just turned into it was called the Red Terror of everyone just j'accuse and cutting everyone's head off. And this happens all the time with all these equality-based revolutions. Once you overthrow the existing power, it becomes a massive purge of your own people where everyone's just fighting over who gets to be the new king. And eventually, you had Napoleon come in and declare himself emperor after everything went to shit. And you see this also with all communist revolutions. They always end in fascism because once you have power, you don't give a shit about equality anymore. Now you just don't want to lose power. And so your values shift from equality to stability, which is inherently right wing. And so when you go from communism, equality to stability, you become fascist, which is what Stalin did. Like, Stalin governed as a fascist, even though he was a communist. Same thing with China. Modern China uses what's called state capitalism, which is just fascist economics. That's why leftists say, "Oh, communism's never been tried." It's because they're fucking retarded, but also because whenever anyone takes power, they don't want to lose it, and so their values instantly change from equality to stability, and they go from communism to fascism.
Lenin was in on that too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
Yes.
he died fairly early, so it wasn't as apparent. But yeah, look, it's the nature of power. Like, in order for communism to quote unquote work, you'd have to have someone take total power and then voluntarily walk away from it.
Yes.
Which is
completely distribute resources evenly on themselves.
Right. Like, I have total power. I've taken everyone's freedom away and property away. I control everything. I'm basically a god. And I'm going to walk away from it and allow all this power I've built to melt away for no reason because of my utopian ideals. Well, that sounds good. It's completely antithetical to human nature and common sense, which is why you just never see it happen. And you can't see it happen. It would be like, I'll give you an example to show you how retarded this is. Imagine starting a business. Like, you risked your capital, you built this business from scratch, and now you're the sole proprietor for this business. This business takes off. You put in the hours of blood, sweat, and tears to build this business from scratch. Now it has 1,000 employees. Are you going to be like, well, time for me to give up all my authority and put my employees in charge and turn this into a co-op? Are you going to do that? Are you going to turn your business into a co-op after you built it?
Hell no.
Hell fucking no, you're not. And no one else in their right mind would either. And that's why communism will never work.
Which I agree 1,000,000%. But before we continue, I gotta read my very appreciative super chats from the
There you go.
subscribers. Thank you very much, and everybody that donated. I'm gonna read these right quick.
All right.
Okay. I'm not gonna say your name, but
Uh-oh.
RW donated a generous $25. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hammer, welcome back. Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak. Cowboy your papers. You will have soon. TFM, take us out with the pimp's prayer.
All right.
What?
I'll do the pimp's prayer at the end of when we're ending the stream.
There's a let me see. BH donated $2. I'm finding hot. Whoa, what? Hold on. Wait.
Traps are gay.
Yeah, no. But,
Oh, okay.
but we'll get to that in the end if we have time. But at the moment, no. But we'll talk about it though. We'll talk about it.
All right.
Real talk with $10. Thank you very much. Gotta kick this one off right. Another heavyweight discussion that's much needed from the OG himself, TFM.
Thank you.
You don't feel old TFM being called an OG?
I'm pretty old, but I'm not. Look, I'm like Barbarossa and Stardust were like the OG of the kind of the MGTOW 2.0. So I mean, I can't take credit for that. I was still wet behind the ears. Honestly,
Okay.
I found MGTOW through Sandman, so even he's older than me.
Yeah, then Sandman,
Yeah,
Spetsnaz,
Sandman 2014 for me.
Man, Woman,
Spetsnaz.
Myth.
Yeah, what happened, man? That guy.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it's
That was
heartbreaking.
Still making videos though. That's all that matters.
Sure.
Yeah. He's hanging in there. I'll be positive.
He's doing his thing.
So Rishi, do you have anything to say about the live stream so far, about the topic or anything?
Not really, honestly.
No, not really. You just vibing?
I'm trying to think because I've been listening. I don't know what to exactly bring up.
I know there's a lot of
pretty much
gems.
everything.
And it's all right to just sit back and relax and listen.
Yeah, I'm not going to force you to, do some PR talk. As long as everybody get those gems in their minds, okay. We're planting these ideals. You don't have to accept them, but best bet that you at least hear us out.
Well, I mean, I'm right, so you can accept me. You can accept me now, or you can accept it later.
An argument over. Close the stream.
Well, I'm right.
You could save yourself some pain and just accept it. You could learn I'm right at the end of the story with tears in your eyes, like fuck, TFM was right again. Or you could be like, hey, I think maybe this guy who's like consistently right about basically everything, maybe I should just listen to him from the beginning. Maybe he knows what the fuck he's talking about. I'm like, yeah, maybe I do.
No, he's wrong.
No, this time is different.
I mean, you just follow this out to its logical conclusions, and it doesn't take very much to read the tea leaves on stuff like this, and you can do it very dispassionately, and you can see where it's headed. And
yes,
he's right. He's right.
Yes, and TFM with the BOB, right?
I actually do have somebody ask. Hey, TFM,
oh, you do?
Did you see the G4 TV?
No.
Yeah, look. I talked about that.
Frost.
I have it right here, right now. Hold up. I did want to show this. I did want to show the video.
Okay, go ahead.
I know TFM definitely. This shit was ridiculous, and it pretty much backed up everything that the Manosphere has been saying so far. I'm talking about legit, man.
There is no greater way to relaunch a channel and burn it to the fucking ground.
I'll explain.
And that pissed me off because X-Play is the first official gaming
you're getting ahead of the story.
Launched.
You're getting ahead of the story. Well, you go ahead and play the clip because I can tell you what's going on. But go ahead and
FYI, I always had a crush on Morgan Webb. I still do. I don't give a fuck.
Psylocke was one of my OG waifus, and Olivia Munn played Psylocke in the X-Men movies.
That must have been fun.
That was,
Man.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and one more thing. The clip I'm gonna show you. Let me show you the part where I really got like very heated, very upset. Rishi, if we're gonna do it in segments, we're not gonna play the whole through. We're gonna pause. All right, Rishi.
So when this originally happened, and my gaming grievance was actually going to be about Red Dead Online. So the subreddit for Red Dead Online, I'm a huge Red Dead Online player. I love Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it's probably my favorite game of all time. And right now, the Red Dead Online community are trying to get this hashtag going called Save Red Dead Online. And they've got it covered by Kotaku, Polygon, Game Rants, like Forbes, I think, also did a coverage of it. And they think that this will get Rockstar's attention, and Rockstar will come back to them and give them exactly what they want. And we can actually scroll this.
You're just going to wait for a few seconds because she's rambling.
Yeah, I know the part we're waiting for. Do you want me to tell you what this is about? I know you're like preparing for this whole thing, but there's actually, once I explain what's going on, you're going to be kind of disappointed.
We'll let TFM explain first, because
All right,
I've already watched it.
Very quickly. All right. So this is basically companies with dead IPs. And I call this the crazy ex-girlfriend method. So if you remember in early 2000s, there was a He-Man remake. It was a really good one too, but it failed. It was canceled after a couple seasons because fans didn't like it. There was a RoboCop remake in the early 2000s. And it was good. It paid homage to the original. It wasn't offensive, and no one watched it because when you have these dead IPs, nobody gives a shit. The deadest IP I can think of is Ghostbusters. I mean, literally, Harold Ramis died, and basically no one expected there to be a third Ghostbusters. So if they would have released Ghostbusters Afterlife just by itself, it would have absolutely bombed. Just like RoboCop, just like the early 2000s He-Man cartoon. If you just release a sequel, a remake, a reimagining that's not offensive, it's going to bomb. They're going to say, "Oh, Hollywood has no new ideas. This is an unnecessary remake. Boo, cash grab, ta-da." But if you make a woke bullshit remake and offend the fans with it, like a crazy ex-girlfriend who gets like a new boyfriend and flaunts him in front of you to make you jealous, you'll remember what you loved about that IP. And then when they make Ghostbusters Afterlife a few years later, you're like, "Oh, finally, the Ghostbusters sequel we always wanted." And you'll support it. It'll make a lot of money. And so what this is, what this G4 bullshit is, what it's all about, they're taking an absolutely dead IP. G4 is dead as hell. It was a completely dead and failed channel. And they can't just relaunch it because you won't watch it. They have to offend you. They have to reignite that passion for the IP. And they do that, like, look at what Ghostbusters did. They had this horrible piece of shit 2016 all-female reboot that everyone hated it. And then they started demanding a true sequel. If the Ghostbusters 2016 never happened and the studio just made Ghostbusters Afterlife, no one would have seen it. So this like blonde tattooed lesbian who they hired to host the new G4 relaunch, she is doing her job. Her job is not to entertain you. Her job is to offend you. Her job is to reignite, and that's why you want to talk about this, because you just said a few seconds ago you love G4 and you remember Morgan Webb and this. You have a lot of nostalgic attachment to this IP.
Yeah, she can still get it.
Right. If they just relaunched G4 and it was just like the same shit you remember, you wouldn't watch it. You don't give a shit about G4. You're a grown ass man now. But now that they've offended you, when they fire this lesbian and they hire someone who's going to give the fans what they want, you'll probably celebrate and support G4. And so this is a tactic of these studios to reignite passion for their dead IPs. by offending you like a crazy ex-girlfriend trying to get you to be jealous. That's
Well, you
all it
think-
is.
Well, you think they're going to fire Sessler as well?
Maybe. Or Sessler will like walk it back, or he'll mea culpa. It doesn't matter. But like once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. Because you will see a pattern. You'll have a dead IP. They will make some all-female bullshit remake. All the culture warriors, all these YouTubers like Clownfish TV and Geeks and Gamers, they'll make a bunch of videos decrying the sacrilege against this IP, which is dead as hell to begin with. You'll get offended. The remake will bomb. You'll celebrate and clap, and then the studio will listen to the fans. They'll make the true sequel, the true remake, the true relaunch, and then you'll support it. And then they reignited a dead IP, and they got the fans passionate about the project again. What more could you possibly ask for?
So you're saying right now, TFM, that I'm not as bangable as 007 Chad?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
I am so glad to hear that, because I agree with you.
I would not bang you, even if you.
Here's the
were
big thing that I
007.
think is hilarious is that I don't even like which I'm pretty sure the producers expected, because there's no way her reaction was scripted. She was hardcore projecting like a motherfucker.
I think part of that was scripted.
No, she was hired.
At least a little bit of that.
This
was
is
scripted,
what
yes.
this is what she was hired to do. She's not hired to. She is Ghostbusters 2016. Her job is to pave the way for Ghostbusters Afterlife and the relaunching of a dead IP. Like, there's going to be probably another Ghostbusters movie in a couple of years, and it will do very well. A soft reboot. It only would you have to understand the psychology. There's psychology behind this.
God, that is so cynical, though.
It's not cynical. It's beautiful in a way. Like, how do you revitalize a dead IP? You have to get the fans passionate about it. Well, how do you get them passionate about it? You can't give them what they want. That's what they expect. You got to piss them off first, and then they'll get passionate. Like, how dare you disrespect Ghostbusters, my favorite movie ever? Said nobody.
I loved Ghostbusters.
Right. I enjoyed it, but like the passion, like He-Man. I loved He-Man as a kid. I had the toys and everything. But like, you ever try watching the old He-Man cartoons? They are dog shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
But the point is like this is the thing. Look at the 2003 He-Man cartoon. It was good. They went into like Skeletor's origin story when he was Keldor. It had really good action. It had like an anime inspired look. It was really good, and it bombed. It was a good, worthy He-Man successor, and no one supported it. But I guarantee, now that we've had the Kevin Smith He-Man bullshit with, fucking Tila with her bull dyke lesbian lover, now that we've had shitty woke He-Man, now when they make another He-Man, everyone will be like, now they're giving the fans the He-Man they deserve.
They listen to us, man.
Hollywood is finally getting it, guys.
Yeah, they listen.
Broke. This is you are being manipulated by a machine that just wants your money.
You know what? Hey, chat. Just look up Frost on XPlay and watch the video there.
You got it.
I'm sorry I ruined the whole segment by giving away the ending.
You go.
I already knew the ending. Don't get me wrong.
You're good, man. You're good. That's an excellent fucking breakdown, but that's why I call it so fucking cynical. Not you, just the manipulation involved in that.
Well, but I mean, you understand these are dead IPs. There's no mileage in this. They can't, like, these IPs aren't going anywhere. These IPs aren't earning any money. And if it doesn't work out, like, let's say they make a woke remake. Let's say it does really well. Let's say it captures the imagination of a new generation of girls. Well, hell, it was a dead IP anyway. Who gives a shit? But if it doesn't, then they can like spin that into a new, we're listening to the fans, we're doing it what you want. either way, the studio wins. And you saw this, like, studios are more than happy to throw their money away on a shitty sequel just to retain the rights. The famous one is the Fantastic Four. So the Fox studio has to make a Fantastic Four movie every so often, otherwise they lose the rights. So they will literally shit out of Fantastic Four knowing it's dog shit, not even attempting to make a good one. So yes, studios will absolutely throw money away on a movie they know will fail in order to maintain the rights to a franchise. How much more would they do that in order to revitalize a completely dead IP?
Yeah, well, you got a point.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yes, sir.
You're right. I'm definitely not denying that whatsoever. And I definitely got bamboozled, right? It's one of the oldest tricks in the book for somebody to revive their fans, their network and stuff. It's just it was the audacity, and at the same time, I think that chick went off script and just spazzed the fuck out with her goddamn.
You don't need to you don't need to tell them what to say. You just hire the right people and you just let them do what you know they're going to do. Like, you hire a militant lesbian, SJW to be the host of your YouTube channel. You know what she's going to do. You don't need to give her a script. You just let her do her thing, and you just stand back like you're like that meme of the guy looking through the blinds, smiling. Like, that's all you do.
But the thing that irked me the most, which it probably was part of the script, I don't know, was bitch ass Sessler was clapping like a fucking walrus,
like a seal.
To that goddamn rant. I instantly got heated. That's the one that actually pissed me off.
Do you think that he's part of the program there, or that was a genuine response from him?
He's always been kind of a cuck. Like, even during Gamergate, back when gamers were being lambasted as misogynists and everything, Sessler was piling on, trying to be like, I'm one of the good ones type of bullshit. So that's just who he is.
Yeah, I was like, you little bitch.
Right, but like, look, Adam Sessler was nobody's favorite part of X-Play.
True.
So, there'll be a reimagining. There'll be a passing of the torch, like in Ghostbusters. They'll bring on some new blood, and there'll be a passing of the torch with Sessler. Maybe they'll bring Morgan Webb and Olivia Munn back, and they'll make a big ceremony of it. And then there'll be a new generation of G4, and the fans will be like, we got the G4 we asked for, guys. And it'll get 1 million subscribers. It'll make all the money, and all the people in the back office of G4 will just be laughing about how they played you like an absolute fiddle.
Yeah.
Like a crazy ex-girlfriend who got you jealous by parading her new boyfriend in front of you, and then you fought for her heart.
And still went to child court.
Well, that's the epilogue, obviously. The epilogue is you go to child court.
So TFM, how funny was the situation that Drake was in with the hot sauce?
Oh, the hot sauce. So, yeah, I mean, the bullshit is like they sue. So Drake put his condom in the trash with hot sauce in it. Now, I recommend horseradish sauce. Like, you get it from Arby's, you get like a pack of horseradish sauce. It's actually white, so it looks more like actual cum. This motherfucker put hot sauce in his condom, and the bitch didn't even question it. Like, you see red shit in a condom, you're gonna just smear that up your pussy with your finger.
I thought the same thing.
That motherfucker got some Kryptonian sperm.
Yeah, I was like, Super 8.
It's like neon pink.
Like, what the fuck, ho?
It's like glow in the dark neon red. Like, yeah, man, up my pussy it goes.
Money.
Now here's what's fucked up is, this isn't the first time it's happened. Like, these women who try to sperm jack a guy, usually a celebrity or someone rich, like, they know what they're doing. They burn themselves on the horseradish sauce or the hot sauce, and then they sue. Like, you were clearly trying to sperm jack him to get child support. And now you're like, oh, and it's not like he poured hot sauce up your pussy, like he held you down, shoved the bottle up your pussy and like tilted it up. He put it in a condom and put it in a trash can. You dug the condom out of the trash can, tried to sperm jack him to get child support, and now you're suing him because you burned your pussy on trash you dug out of the trash can. Now, sadly, he's probably going to end up having to settle. But even if he settles, like, that's still going to be less than child support. Like, I don't know what her damages are for getting her pussy flushed out with some saline from the burn she sustained from cayenne sauce, but it's going to be a lot less than child support.
If he has to settle, I swear to God.
Well, we'll be talking about that too, won't we?
Honestly, the real solution, if you're going to fuck around with women, just get a vasectomy. Then you can raw dog them, come in their mouth, come in their pussy, come all over their tits, like whatever. And they'll be like, oh yeah. And they're like secretly, I'm going to get pregnant from Drake. I'm going to have me a baby. And then they're going to be like buying all the fucking pregnancy tests and they come back negative. Like, fuck, I ain't getting my payday now. I'm going to have to fuck another celebrity for money.
And but if he does have to pay, I'm going to literally point straight into that goddamn TV in front of everybody. Everybody. How much proof do you need?
Well, yeah, look, I don't think he's not gonna have to pay child support. He's probably gonna have to pay some type of like compensatory. He's gonna settle.
Just imagine settling because some dumb IG broad wanted to steal your seed. How much proof do you need, gentlemen, on why I don't take these bitches seriously?
But he did get to burn her pussy. Like, so she's gonna make like $10,000.
I didn't tell her to shove it up her.
He did make the news, bro.
Oh,
right?
God.
You just, the memes. You do like the Drake meme, but you put like Tabasco sauce up your pussy.
Right? It's just a lot of females will be looking in that situation like, oh well, since she can do it, I can do it too.
Well, and that's why you get a vasectomy. So she'll sperm jack you, she'll rub it all in her, and she won't get pregnant anyway. And then you can just shrug and keep on living your life.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that men even more again have to go into great lengths to self-preservation. Ain't that some shit?
Well, that's kind of centrism. Look, the best thing you can do is get a doll. I'm waiting for the day that, like, now this has already happened in other countries. There's actually, and this is, I think it's Nigeria. There's a rapper called Sugar Shaw in Nigeria who has a sex doll waifu. There's a bodybuilder actor from Kazakhstan or something who's got a sex doll waifu. When a very, a successful, like someone like Henry Cavill, who's like a giant into Warhammer 40K nerd, but if someone like Henry Cavill got a sex doll waifu, that would make everyone lose their shit. Once sex dolls go mainstream, once you got like your 1%er, high value men getting a sex robot or a waifu and not messing around with women, it's going to be, first of all, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great day for men, and you're going to see the cope and seethe from women as they realize like men are just not dealing with their bullshit anymore, and
it'll be worldwide hysteria.
It will be. It'll be
protesting in front of all the companies.
They will try to get them struck down and illegal. They'll try to get you to sign consent forms for your doll.
Well, that's why you have a machine gun arm attachment. And you crank up the Terminator 2 music as you send them out on the battlefield.
But it irks the fuck out of me. It really does, to the core.
It should.
To the core, it irks the fuck out of me that a woman can literally put down a random name on a birth certificate of a man that she never interacted with, or I'm just saying, like, she never seen this man before. She could just literally put down a random fucking name, and that man will more likely than not be in charge of child support. But when she's caught red-handed stealing your seed,
the laws
there's a high chance of her taking money from you.
The laws are written as such to basically, you have very little chance of getting out of that. So what happened? I know one case, a guy was in prison, and a woman he just knew had a baby. She had to put somebody on the paperwork to get food stamps. Mm-hmm. So she put his name on the food stamps. He was in prison. So they served him a notice to his house, which obviously wasn't there. He missed his window to dispute it. And so he gets out of prison and he owes a bunch of back child support. And the way the laws are written, there was nothing they could do. Like, that's the way the laws are written. So back to jail he goes for, and the woman even admits that he's not actually the father. She just like had to put something on the, and the best part is, so she admits she defrauded the government and nothing happened. So the guy that she just put on paperwork to defraud the government, he goes to jail. But the woman who actually lied on the paperwork, nothing happens to her.
You mean the one that admitted it on the news?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just that it's just a fucked up system. That's why Terminator waifus are the only real solution.
But then my parents, right? The parents act so confused and shocked on why me and my other adult brothers are refusing to even go on quote unquote dates.
Show
with
them
these
why.
women.
Oh, you- no,
what's
you-
wrong with these? What do you mean you
No,
don't want to marry?
Look, you can go on dates. I've seen guys bring their sex dolls with little wheelchairs on little picnics and stuff. You can go
But
on little dates.
it's hilarious how I really think my parents like pretend to be stupid, like pretend to be dumb, or they generally are confused on why me and my other adult brothers are saying no, fuck that, I'm doing me. The last time a sibling of mine brought home a chick was in 2013.
Well, another thing is like a lot of these. This is what's fucked up. When their son is being divorce raped, they'll side with the woman because they don't want to lose access to their grandkids.
Yep.
So these parents who pressured you to settle down and get married and have kids, when you get betrayed and served up on a silver platter in divorce court, they'll side with your ex against their own son.
I have seen that.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it every fucking time. I can't think of a single example of the parents siding with their own son. They always side with the woman because they don't want to lose access to their grandkids.
Hey,
And-
gentlemen, I need to take off for the night.
Yeah, I need to probably go. I have a stream tomorrow morning, so I got to get to bed.
Oh snap!
pretty
My
soon.
bad, y'all.
No, it's
What
all
is-
good, brother. I just got to get.
All right. Good talking to you, man.
Hey,
Yes,
man,
this
it's my
was the-
pleasure, gentlemen. My pleasure.
Hey, this was a legendary crossover since Infinity War Avengers. Okay?
Right on.
Yeah.
Thank
my
you very
pleasure.
much, gentlemen. Have a good night, and hopefully you'll be able to come to another live stream in the future.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm free most evenings if you just ask me. Except Saturdays. That's when I do my own show.
That's my day.
That's me time.
Yeah, man. Great conversations, whether
So I got to do the pimp's prayer.
Oh yeah, shit.
All right. Let us pray the pimp's prayer. Lord, have mercy on the soul of this bitch and guide my pimp hand to make it strong, Lord, that she might learn a hoe's place. Amen.
Amen. Y'all have a good one, man. Peace out.
All right, peace out, man. Peace out.
See ya.
And Rishi, we're gonna bring back these people for final thoughts, okay?
All right, for sure. Let's
All
hear
right,
it.
Gray, Constantine, Real Talk, Dr. Red Pill, what's going on?
What up?
What's
History-
good, guys?
History made
Yeetus.
tonight.
Yo, this was such a legendary stream, guys.
I did not expect it to get this far. I really did not. This was insane. I did not expect to have both of them on at the same time.
Fucking TFM doesn't run out of gas.
No, if I should next time I'm gonna buy an energy drink.
Yeah, he's on point, man. On fire.
But Dr. Red Pill, what are your thoughts on the stream, and what are your final thoughts on the topic?
I mean, the stream was very concise. It was quite legendary, and I think this was definitely a conversation that men need to hear in general, period.
All right,
And-
thank you. And what you got to say?
Oh no, my thought on the topic is just, again, very important topic to talk about. We have got to work hard to provide quality content for these young men out here and to weed out the grifters, guys, as well as these chameleons trying to come over here.
I definitely agree, man. But thank you for your input, man, and definitely come on the live stream tomorrow.
I definitely will. Puniti.
Puniti.
Food meaty.
Me
All
too.
right.
Well, nobody else Puniti, goddamn.
Punchacha.
All right,
All right,
peace.
guys. Peace.
So
Real talk.
yeah, fire stream, man. Like I said, shit, that was very entertaining. But as far as like the Manosphere is concerned, I think I don't know. It was before I found Chronic. I pretty much shouted out like on someone else's live stream how like there's a lot of frauds. There's a lot of. It was when the Fresh and Fit debacle went down, but Fresh and Fit government agents. I mean, the majority of these guys who are kind of steering the conversation and making these like very sensationalized channels, like where it's just nothing but drama and shit. They're definitely all agents. So it's like we got to keep weeding out the garbage. Jack Murphy's definitely not in the Manosphere, so I was agreeing with TFM on that. But there is a fine distinction. Like 98%, 99% of this circle is like trash. And if you've been booted, if you've been silenced, if it's hard for you to get subs, if they're always canceling your notifications, they're actively trying to stifle your freedom of speech. And it's just like, look at Chronic. I mean, everybody's gone through it, but like it's gonna get worse. And I think the frauds are gonna get like promoted even more. So we gotta watch out for that. But I'm gonna digress. And yeah, man, congratulations on such a stream.
Yeah, man. I really do hope I'll have other big names join. Like, we already trying to contact a good amount of people. Just wait.
Yeah, sweet.
But peace out, man, and definitely come on the stream tomorrow.
For sure, dope. Have a good night, boys. Puniti.
Puniti.
Food meaty.
Constantine, you next.
All right. Well, it was a very good live stream. TFM and Hammerhand are always a treat to listen to. And I will say I learned a lot more from TFM tonight about these kind of grifters and why they are as prevalent as they are, because a lot of these traditional MGTOW content creators and I guess you could say general red pillars that are just simply trying to help people really are being censored on YouTube. Even Joker from Better Bachelor, even though he really doesn't charge anything for his content unless you choose to join his locals page, he's even talked about the censorship getting very ridiculous. And his whole reason of being on locals is so he can, have a bit more freedom to really speak his mind. But as far as it goes with the grifters of the Manosphere, I remember whenever I first really started looking into all this, I've seen my fair share of dating coaches. I personally have never purchased anything from them. But it's just a shame because, there's a lot of young men out there that are hurting. They really are hurting. They're dealing with mental illness. They've been told all their lives that, they really don't matter based on how people treat them. They're taught that their mental illnesses don't matter. Nobody gives a crap about them. And then you got people like Rolo Tomasi and his group of people. I actually termed them the Tomasi posse because he's just got his own little group of people that, they all just hype up his book and all that. That's kind of what Donovan Sharp did for CME. Look at us. We got the Godfather of the Manosphere and his book, Rational Male. But the problem is these kind of guys, at the end of the day, they're hypocrites a lot of the time. They say one thing, and a lot of times they try to play themselves up to be somebody that they're not, all just for the purpose of selling you a product. And Chronic touched on this in previous live streams, I think in a video he did with Ribby a while back. And basically, one of the things you should take away from all this stuff about these grifters, guys, is that money that you could be spending on Fed and Frauds courses, on paying Richard Cooper $50 a minute for talking to him about chasing excellence, and all that money you could be spending on Rolo's book, Donovan Sharp's new version of Womanese that's like $500 or some bullshit. You could be using that money to pay for a gym membership, pay for a fitness diet to help you either gain muscle mass or lose body fat. Or you could be buying your protein powder with that money. Hell, you could be investing that money in crypto, precious metals, all the other kind of stuff in terms of trying to get your finances in order. And you could be using that money to enjoy your hobbies. You could be using that money to improve your life in a whole lot of other ways other than giving that money out over to people like Tomasi, like Sharp, and all the rest of them. You could be definitely using that money for better things to improve your own life and actually see direct results from spending those hard-earned dollars that you're getting at your job from spending it on those things instead of giving it to these grifters. I do believe that they do need to be called out for sure, like you were saying, Yeetus, especially the ones that people have come forward with evidence that they aren't who they say they are. I'm surprised that more people aren't calling Rolo out, because I know that the Dream Johnson actually released a video criticizing Rolo and calling him out on borderline doxing 50 men at CM at his 21 convention. And it's just kind of surprising. And it's the same thing with Donovan Sharp. Donovan Sharp has a legit criminal record, according to Anthony Johnson, and he's shown evidence of it. It's like, do you really trust a guy that with that? Do you really trust somebody like that with your money? I don't think I would, and I don't think that a lot of other people will either. But just so many people, they still believe in these guys, and they still think these guys are legitimate, and it's a shame, because these guys do need help, and it's just like what TFM said. They're searching for a big brother or a father figure they may have never really had in their lives, but ultimately at the end of the day, they're just being taken advantage of. And we've got to do our job of trying to help these young men, kind of understand you don't prioritize women. If women come into your life, it's okay to interact with them to a certain degree, but you have to be careful, especially nowadays. And it's not as difficult as these grifters want you to think that it is to get women. What is one of the big things Undead Chronic said? He said, get your physical fitness right, grow a pair, and have a backbone, and get your career and your finances established. And if you want to, you can entertain the idea of dating and stuff like that, but make sure to have a backbone and understand the risks involved, and try to do your best to accommodate those risks and be prepared for them. That's really what it is. But I know it's a lot. It can be more it's easier said than done, but you shouldn't have to pay a bunch of money for that at all. And it's, again, a shame, but that's my 2 cents on it. And I think that, it was a very good job of Chronic and the Warband taking down the Gilded Cuck, Jack Goldstein. I call him the Gilded Cuck because his last name's Goldstein. Gilded means coated in gold. Exterior, he tries to look like an alpha, but when you really look at who he really is, he's a spineless fool that's just trying to make people pay him $4,000 for membership in his little group. So, yeah.
Well, that was a very good input, man. Like, you actually put a lot of detail in what you had to say. I respect that. Oh, yeah.
All right.
And definitely thank you for waiting till the end, because I know you've been waiting for a while.
No, it's perfectly fine, Yeetus.
Just making sure, man. But thank you for joining. Definitely come back tomorrow, because there will be a stream tomorrow. And peace out. Puniti.
Puniti.
All right, before you go, Gray. All right, everybody. Last time I am going to chill, because you guys are very generous today. Very generous. I appreciate all the donations. Okay. I got a surprise for you guys when it comes to new art. I know you guys like the logo, but I'm thinking about doing something for the Warband when it comes to art. And your donations definitely help. So if you still want to donate tonight, please donate to the link that's pinned on top of the chat. to paypal.me/Yeetus. All right, 100% of the money will go to the Warband. I do not touch a cent. All donations will be appreciated because you guys were very generous today. Thank you very much. Oh, and on top of that, if you want to subscribe to me, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell because, me and Rishi, we do a lot of live streams. Also, if you want, which you probably will, can you please subscribe to Rishi? Rishi,
Oh yeah.
when you can you put your link in the chat? Because you are approaching 1,000, right?
Yeah, I'm getting close, bro.
See?
I think I'm halfway there.
Oh, I thought you were more than that.
Mm,
Okay,
not too
it's
sure.
all good. But when you can, please put down your link because you're gonna get, especially when they see the memes that you have on your channel. Oh, you're gonna get subscribers.
For sure.
All right, Gray. What is your opinion on the live stream and your thoughts on the topic today?
Well, legendary live stream, no doubt about that. As for the topic, well, I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier and expand a little bit. I'll admit, compared to the golden age of MGTOW and the Manosphere at large, yeah, it doesn't seem as prevalent right now. But you look back to the 2010s and earlier, the prevalence of the Manosphere has disseminated out into society. It's become a lot more organic and a lot harder to silence. You got tons of people on TikTok posting this stuff, all sorts of compilations. At the very least, it's never really been easier to find the information and get into it, and at a much younger age. And I definitely think that that's something that needs to be kept in perspective. The very fact that we have all these grifters, all these problems, it's just a byproduct of success. They wouldn't be pulling all this shit. We wouldn't have YouTube promoting certain narratives of it. We wouldn't have glowies infiltrating if it wasn't working. And yes, there's going to be people who would rather blow $150 on having someone tell them what they want to hear rather than getting a bunch of dumbbells and doing a shit ton of push-ups. And
yeah, a lot of young people think there's a shortcut to getting all these chicks and stuff and how to be manly. No, there is no shortcut to that unless you were given the genetic lottery when you were born, that you're ahead. But even then, that's not enough overall.
Although, on that note, do not neglect your core people, especially your glute medius. Those are the muscles that you need most of all for lifting and carrying stuff. They're not the most flattering or most visually appealing, but you do not want lower back issues later in life, especially if it becomes a matter of survival.
That is true. But thank you for your input, man. Crazy live stream, but I thought it was awesome. Definitely come back tomorrow.
Yeah, will do.
All right. Peace out. Puniti.
Peace out. Puniti.
Puniti.
What a live stream. What a live stream. I did not expect the live stream to go that far.
The big guys.
Literally, this was like Captain America meeting Iron Man type situation. Hammerhand and TFM on my live stream, bro. Oh man, and I really do hope that eventually one or both of them will come back, and I really do hope. And we are looking forward to inviting other members of the Manosphere. Okay, not those grifters, not those hypocritical frauds. I'm talking about legit people who care about men. Red Pill / MGTOW. Or hell, or even Warband. We'll definitely see who we're going to bring. But one last time, gentlemen. I am going to post. Do I have it? Okay. You see the link right there? If you want to subscribe, click that link. You want to subscribe to my channel, or you could just subscribe like right there. If you're on a live stream, you could just, hit that subscribe button, please. That'd be pretty cool. You don't even have to turn on the notifications. Just subscribe. And
Feral
Rishi,
Ravage. We'll get on that, Feral Ravage.
what's up?
Uh,
I'm trying I can't. I don't know how to get a hold of him.
yeah, we'll call him up. Don't worry about it. We'll we'll call him on his personal phone number. Be like, yo,
Personal phone.
You want to jump on the live stream? He's like, oh yeah.
I was waiting for you to ask me.
Sorry for the sarcasm. This guy is like, he might view himself as too big,
No, well, never say never though. We got TFM and Hammerhand on here.
It's true.
But can you put in your YouTube link one more time before we head out?
All right.
Amazing stream, everybody. Amazing. I know the stream got rough here and there, but we need to have these type of conversations. There is no all rainbows and unicorns or whatever about it. All right. We have to talk about these controversial issues, and unfortunately, there's going to be people that have different opinions. And when it comes to two men having different opinions, sometimes you got to hash it out. Am I wrong, Rishi?
Yeah. You have to, bro.
Oh, you said yeah.
It got a little heated.
You said yeah. Like, okay.
It's like, yeah, you're wrong, bro. You're so wrong. You don't even realize. But yeah, it got a little heated, right?
It did. I was like, oh no. This is not how I want this to end. But everything became cool, after a bit, because once again, men, we are confrontational. We tend to get heated at times, especially with different opinions, different point of views.
Yeah,
and I'm sure
things that matter, bro.
Yeah, the things that actually matter as well. Yeah, both parties were passionate about it, and both parties had to hash it out. But that's what men do. This is what we do as men, okay? So we can be peaceful about it, but at times we got to fight for what we believe in. 10 toes down. Let's put it out there. And you know what? I'll see if I can give a timestamp today. I'll see if I can. But guys, thank you very, 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 very much for joining. I didn't plan for this stream, really. But TFM's like, you know what? I got time. So I literally had to tactical roll on my gaming chair to make this live stream happen. Because there's no way I'm going to miss a live stream with TFM. And then out of nowhere, Hammerhand joins too. What? And that's his first time. So today is a good day for me, for Rishi, and for the Warband. Thank you guys for watching. This is Sir Yeetus. I hope you guys had your daily dose of red pills. And
Cheers.
how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? You don't have to mock me. Give me money.
Pay to my PayPal. Goyam.
You better not scam me or PayPal information in the chat room.
We have a shroom supporter in chat.
Fuck mushrooms.
Shroom lives matter, Yeetus.
Nah, fuck mushrooms. Mushrooms are gross. Disgusting. It is gross.